What up, people? What's good? Salute.
Yes, sir.
Yo, what's good, everybody? Salute to the tribe. We're hip hop and comics and hip hop. We're a niche channel. Reserved for the best. It's super dope. I do sell comics. Check me out on Instagram at 6th_element_comics. Yeah, because comic books are the sixth element of hip hop. What's good, y'all? What's good? Goat in the building. Sixth element of hip hop here. Reno Noir is your host. Stu Dog is your co-host. The Goat is the special guest. We all here. What's good, man? Waiting on Raw Talk.
What up?
What's going on, Stu? Reno, what's happening, y'all? What's goody?
Chilling, man. Just chilling, you know.
Chilling,
man. Yeah, one of those multi-faceted shows tonight. We got all type of good topics to talk about. In the meantime, this just popped in the mail. Got the new Thor Ragnarok. But it's not a new figure by any means, but it's new to me. But the reason I grabbed him is because I realized I got all the Avengers except Thor and Cap, and I didn't set out to collect the Avengers because it's not. I was never really a big fan of the Avengers, but I looked all over my shelf. I realized, wait, there's Hulk over there fighting Wolverine. I got my favorite Iron Man. He down there chilling. I got Black Panther over here, and there's Vision, and I'm like, boy, everybody's here. I'm like, who's missing? We grab a Cap and a Thor, and we put them all together and make a little squad. So you
gotta get that Trinity up in there. You gotta get that Trinity. You know what I'm saying? If you don't get nothing else of the Avengers, you gotta get that Trinity: Cap, Iron Man, and Thor. You know what I'm saying? Hood call.
You do that no matter what.
Yeah, gotta have the icons. I never been big on collecting the MCU figures and stuff.
I was looking at that Thor. Is that Oliver style? Because it looked like Oliver's art on the box. Because Oliver I can't pronounce the dude's last name, but Copiel, if I pronounce his name, spelled his name right. He was real popular on drawing Thor in the last decade in the 2010s. I think that might. No, that's not his style. That's not him. But that dude, he would. If you ever get a chance to check out those books, his name is first name Oliver Copiel. Copiel. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's kind of French, so you had to forgive me. But yeah, that dude, he's got some dope art, and he was got big off of drawing Thor books. That's what made them really popular during the 2010s, outside of obviously the MCU, putting the shine on the Avengers universe and everything like that. So but that dude in the comic books, Oliver, he got some dope art. He got some amazing art, and he was for drawing Thor. So
yeah, I'm not sure who did that, who did Ragnarok or whatever, but that's what it's from, Ragnarok, where they Tony Stark and them made a cybernetic doppelganger of Thor, named him Ragnarok, and he's sort of like a cyborg that ends up betraying the Avengers and going back, and fighting them. But Derpy Entertainment in the building said, I enjoyed this adaptation for what it deserves a season 2, referring to Avatar: The Last Airbender, because that is what we are going to talk about first tonight. That's our main sort of topic, because that's the hot joint. Yo, Mike Haggs, what up? We all sort of enjoyed, and we are going to definitely get into the Jim Lee DC Marvel collab, the Amalgam, good shit going on, and talk about that. And we definitely got to talk about, Bad Batch 3, Invincible 2. We're going to get into that. We're going to get into, of course, the DCU, some things like that, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of video games. We're going to cover all kind of things tonight. Definitely comic books and all that good stuff. Shout out, what's good, y'all? What's good? But yeah, man. So to sort of kick it off with Avatar, Last Airbender. It sort of echoing what my man Derpy say. It was a good adaptation for what it is. I mean, it was what it was.
You know, it was better than what shall never be named. You feel me? So,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. It wasn't bad. It wasn't great. Like there was, there's some really good merit to it. Like it had some really great points. And then there was some stuff that I wasn't a big fan of. Um, you know, but no streaming service can pull off the perfect batting average with its original programming. But when it comes to Netflix's live action anime adaptations, we know that's it's been hitting below the Mendoza line. Storied animes like Cowboy Bebop, right? Death Note. We just was just on Netflix. Only to be eviscerated by the very communities for which Netflix was actually trying to appease. Right, the anime communities destroyed them shows. Every live action anime adaptation faces, a unique challenge. I think the fantastical, seemingly limitless possibilities of animation are something that even the best special effects companies, especially when trying to incorporate it into live action, can fail to capture. But I think Netflix has been trying, despite those high profile early failures, because the shows tend to come with a large built-in audience. They're gonna keep trying it. They know that this is all they got to do is get it just a little bit right, and they got a built-in fan base, and it's gonna blow up. If an anime adaptation can appease the fandom and become a hit with the rest of the subscriber base, Netflix is sitting on a gold mine, and perhaps even the next Stranger Things, right? Uh, you know, to Netflix's credit, they finally did make some progress on the live action anime front last year with the first season of One Piece. Everybody loved it. One Piece was good. I was not a fan of the anime right before, the Netflix show, so I hadn't really had the experience of watching it. Not that I had anything against it. It's just like 1,000+ episodes. I just wasn't
right.
going to tackle it. A lot of people just like, okay, I'm not even going.
It's too much. It's too much. Like like One Piece. Like shout outs to them for their longevity. I appreciate the longevity, and when maybe if God forbid another quarantine happens, what I'm saying, I get into some One Piece. What I'm saying, I have the time to get into it. But of course 4 years ago it was the last thing on my plate, wanting to get into One Piece, and because I really didn't have any interest. I watch a lot of anime, read manga, but even though One Piece has been around since we were actually young, what I'm saying, it still wasn't something that that made me say, hey, I want to go check out One Piece. But when I saw that last year, I was like, okay, this is my chance to see, get a little sense of what it's about. And I've been hearing nothing but good news, what I'm saying, when it came to people reviewing it before it came out. And then when it came out, and then I saw it myself, and all you heard was, good stuff about it. And you know how it is with adaptations. It's like, oh man, why they keep trying? I mean, I understand why, for profit value and the fan bases and whatnot, but it's like, okay, all right. So what it gonna be this time? Because Cowboy Bebop, everybody loved Cowboy Bebop, and Cowboy Bebop, that was the Hindenburg there. That was the Hindenburg.
Yes, it was.
Yeah,
Because it was so well done. Cowboy Bebop was so well done. It wasn't even funny. Like it had an adult content,
the
a
anime,
very mature value to it. Yeah, yeah. I'm talking about the anime. The anime was so well done. It's timeless right now. It's actually a classic. Just like with what's the other one that they did? Samurai Champloo. They're just all those like, and then Cowboy Bebop had that jazz feel to it. They played all that jazz music in it, that modern jazz, and it was like, yeah, like right. It was just, you can't say nothing bad about Cowboy Bebop, man. Like,
that was a gold
just,
era.
like,
that was a gold era with Cowboy
yeah.
Bebop, Samurai Champloo, Afro Samurai. You know what I'm saying? Like those.
Yeah, Gundam Wing. Yeah, Gundam Wing back then.
Came on the scene.
Outlaw Star and all of that. Yeah, all of that's just classic, bro. The way they were, it's not even just the way they were drawn. It's the storylines were concurrent with each episode, and they didn't stray away. Like, there were no filler episodes. It literally got the business every week. Like, that's like, now you'll get something and they'll give you an episode, Then they'll do a filler episode. Then they'll do an episode that has nothing to do with anything. And you're like, all right, why am I even watching this? Let's get back to the nitty gritty.
Right.
And
We
we've
know
lost
anime
that. Yeah,
love
we lost
filler
that.
episodes.
Mm.
Yeah, you can't have 1,000 episodes without a lot of filler. One Piece definitely is guilty of that shit. But Sada,
Yeah.
welcome to the show.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, Sada.
I never watched a lot of One Piece. But Sada might have watched a lot of One Piece.
Not a
Never watched
lot. I've watched the beginning parts, but I have to get back to it. But yeah, I haven't watched a lot.
Well, yeah, it was developed by it was sorry, it was the guy that made it is the same guy that made the live action. So it was in good hands, right? It was off top. The people that were making the live action were the people that made the anime. So it had a good outlook from the gate. And it was like it came out in August. Everybody loved it. Critics loved it. Fans liked it for embodying the kinetic energy of the manga first, right? The show has since been renewed for a second season. The only problem, One Piece creator Oda still hasn't finished writing the series, which has been active since 1997. And I mean in theory, Netflix could roll out a dozen seasons of One Piece and barely scratch the surface of the source material, right? There's so much material that season one has barely scratched, the first couple, section of episodes. But then in December, Netflix dropped the live action adaptation of Yu Yu Hakusho. And while Yu Yu
Hakushiro.
yeah, it didn't really carry the same hype as One Piece. It wasn't quite as talked about. It also did score favorable reviews. In fact, the biggest complaint about that show was that the first season was too short. And that's always a good complaint in my opinion. But after so many whiffs, on the live action anime front, Netflix was suddenly 2 for 2, right? It was like bomb, and then now they had these great successes, right? So it appeared to bode well heading into its great adaptation future. And whether the Nickelodeon animated series Avatar: The Last Airbender qualifies as anime is something that's its own discussion in itself. Even its own creators debate that. But at least, the very least, it's heavily influenced by anime for sure, right? It's definitely anime adjacent. Dante Bosco, who voiced Prince Zuko, considers it American anime, right? Because it's American made. Anime is Japanese, which is a solid, compromise. In any case, Avatar is a franchise that's treated, with the kind of reverence that's rare among American animation, right? It's a story that gracefully touches on mature themes like genocide and war and imperialism, but definitely is geared, to younger, audiences, right? It's definitely a kid's show, but it's got, some more intriguing, some more intelligent themes.
Adult topics.
Yeah, and then it's been like 20 years since Avatar first came on Nickelodeon, and it's been widely regarded as one of the best animated series, period, right? Out widely. So with all the adoring, surrounding Avatar, the adaptation of the series, while inevitable, is a scary prospect, right? Nobody wants to see their favorite shit get butchered.
Exactly.
And Netflix has definitely done that. The last time we got that live action Avatar adaptation was M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong's Last Airbender, which was universally not loved.
I love that you use the same name I've been using for him for the past 14 years. I love that. Like only name we got from here.
Yeah, we 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. So the they when something is notorious. Yeah, I mean it wasn't quite as bad as like Dragon Ball Z live action. Ooh, but definitely, Netflix's adaptation of Airbender, couldn't fumble that bad, right? So, but fans certainly, had reason to worry. I think it was definitely warranted, but the promotional rollout for Avatar didn't exactly inspire confidence either. With the showrunner, explaining that the adaptation would bypass a lot of the story's side adventures, and character traits, deemed iffy were removed entirely. And despite all the signs pointing to the live action series being a misfire, it didn't really misfire. It's good. I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad. I enjoyed it. I wasn't repelled by it. I was able to finish it, so that says a lot. Uh, for the uninitiated, Avatar takes place in a fantasy world comprised of like four nations, right? The classical elements, right? The four main elements of water, fire, earth, and air, and sort of some gifted individuals from each nation are capable of bending, right? Essentially manipulating the element that is their nation. So if you're of the fire nation, you can manipulate fire or bend fire, right? So earth, air, water, fire. It's like an elevated. It's like it was sort of a cap on some dope martial arts, right? It was like you could do these dope martial arts and then there'd be like a flame move in there with some fire, or he'll do some shit and then like some rocks will bust up from the ground, right? The way this show did it, very different. Like the Fire Nation they could like fly on like jets of fire, and there's like fire engulfing them, and they're
Yeah.
just like blasting fireballs all over the place, just like really they really just let it was almost like powers, it really was not the same way it is in the anime. But one, being, the avatar is the one that can master all four of the elements, right? That there's like one guy who can control all the earth, air, fire, and water. And sort of he's supposed to maintain peace, right? He's supposed to be the Anakin, right? Bring balance to the force and all of that. And similar to the Dalai Lama, right? Or the Dalai Lama. The avatar sort of reincarnates, and it's like a mantle that passes generation down, generation, and to a different nation with each life cycle, right? To the before the start of the series, the Fire Nation kills all the Air Nation, right? Just eradicates all the air nomads, knowing that the avatar was one of the airbenders, right? Or one of the air people. So they wanted to get rid of the avatar, and so the first in an ambitious, step to conquer the world, right? The Fire Nation wants to rule everything, and a young airbender, the last one named Aang, not Ang, okay, it's Aang. The the avatar in training, he isn't with the air nomads during the attack. He's off whatever he's doing, some shit, and the fire dudes come in and kill everybody, and he's like caught in the storm, and his avatar state is sort of like a heightened ability that's sort of like going Super Saiyan, right? But it's like he also is not really conscious. He's not really Aang at that point in a way. It sort of freezes him in a block of ice, like cocoons him in a force field of like water to protect him from the storm and shit, and he gets frozen in that bubble for 100 years, and they unfreeze him, Captain America style. In the time that the Avatar disappeared, the Earth and the Water nations, since then have sort of isolated themselves from the rest of the world in a handful of little, villages and cities, and sort of the last strongholds standing in the way of the Fire Nation. And the story starts off with the two siblings from the Water Tribe that are the main characters with Aang in the animated joint.
Southside Southern Water Tribe.
Yes, Waterbender Katara and her brother Sokka, and they inadvertently stumble upon Aang as he, is unfrozen from his 100-year sleep, and he sort of, immediately captures the attention of Zuko, the Fire Nation's exiled prince, who has spent the last, his, whole life searching for the Avatar, and right, his only hope of being welcomed home by his father, the Fire Lord Ozai, is now the show's big bad. And basically, with threats lurking around every corner, Aang and his new pals have to travel the world so that they can master the other three elements and stop the Fire Nation before it's too late, right? Um, Netflix Avatar broadly covers the first season of the animated series. It I would say loosely, except for the last episode. And correct me if I'm wrong, if anybody in it, the last episode was like beat for beat, almost 1-to-1 with the last episode of the anime. So like the last episode of the animated is the last episode of the live action. They're almost identical.
Just to brag the last two, cause the last episodes, the last two episodes of the first season was a two-parter, and so
Two-parter.
pretty much beat for beat, are just about perfection onto capturing that essence in the last episode of the first season, especially with the spirit being gravely injured, and the everything cut into the black and white, and first the red, when it was pulled up out the water, the ocean spirit, not the ocean spirit, the moon spirit, excuse me, the moon spirit, and then pulled up out the water, then stabbed, and everything went black and white, and in the fire, and the fire was still in color, so that was those visual elements, what I'm saying, elements, in the show, like it was in the animation, they were spot on with that, they were spot on.
Yeah.
Only thing that was that Zuko's scar could have been a lot uglier, what I'm saying, because of course in the show, his eye to his ear, like his ear was a little deformed as well because of where he got burnt at, so the ear should have been a little bit touched on as well. Other than that, it looked like like somebody just gave him a nice good black eye,
like a birthmark or something. Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah, I agree, man. He definitely looked like a real baby face. I didn't think he was cast well. That was my sort of gripe with the live action. The casting wasn't what I would have chosen. The kids were a little bit foo-foo, little fruity.
Pretty good. He might age, into, because remember, not too much time passing between books 1 and 3, and so you don't want a guy that's look like he's about 25 years old playing 16. So and especially during the time that happens in book 2 where he isn't eating a lot, so he get a little malnutrition, like you can see his cheekbones getting his cheekbones in the animation because he wasn't eating. So we'll hopefully when they get to that, no telling when, hopefully not too long, because we can't do the Stranger Things thing with this. We gotta get right back into it, so so we're gonna see how everything as far as that goes. What do y'all think about the Boomy change?
The what?
Boomy's change, as far as his personality in the show versus the animation versus the live action here on Netflix. I kind of liked it because of the fact it showed that this man lived these 100 years in the war, and from a child to an old man, it's kind of like he basically had lost his as far as like his hope. He lost his hope after 100 years of war. It was kind of like as opposed in the animation, he still had a little bit of hope in him, but he was just making sure his city was protected. But you got a little bit of that mental anguish from Boomy in the show versus the cartoon, where it was like you've been gone, like yeah, you was my dog when we were kids, but that's been 100 years ago. You've been gone this whole time. We've been at war for 100 years. You've been chilling, and I've been in it, what I'm saying, and we done had to do some stuff. So
yeah, no, I thought, I agree. I thought it was a dope adaptation, man. It was a good translation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It wouldn't have been possible for Avatar to adapt everything, the entirety of the animated series
Oh yeah, no doubt.
uh to one to one, but after without next Netflix spending way more money than they would want to, but what we do get visually, I think, is a I was really impressed. Like, I thought this is like movie quality. Like, this shit looks really good.
Mm.
It looks really good. It really does. Like, the CGI is very impressive. The Now, the wardrobe, though, not so much. The costumes, not the best. And some of it some of it looked a little cosplay. Some of it looked a little like Walgreens Halloween costume bullshit, but some of it was really bad. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, Goat, but to me it was like some of especially the water, the fur, like, was really cheap and like thin, and just looked really like fake, and just everything was very clean. Everything was very clean, and I don't know if they were trying to do this to make it look like a cartoon, but it just came off looking cheap and fake. Like the sets, I mean, everything around this
It
just
should have
shit
looked
that
a
I
little more lived in.
little
It just
yeah
like we still love about Star Wars because of the fact that it was a future that you felt like they was living in that world. They was living in
yeah.
that world. It wasn't like, oh, shiny and bright.
Mm-mm.
Like it was like, hey, this is
Long, long ago, right? A long, long time ago,
Yeah,
right?
the costumes, they look crazy. Like, I think you could tell that they were standing in front of a green screen, which
Yeah.
broke the immersion sometimes for me. And now I've only
Mhm.
seen the first two episodes, so I can only comment on those two thus far. And I've watched the entire animated show, but
Nice.
just based on what I've seen thus far, like, yeah, I would agree. Like, Aang's thing definitely looks cosplay.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay. So it was okay. Yeah, I agree. The suits were okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's the kind of like authenticity that the Shamalama Ding Dong Airbender notoriously lacked. The as far as the show, because it does excel in the finer details. Like, some of them, like, each nation is inspired by Asian and indigenous culture and folklore, right? Which is reflected in everything. You do get some of that, and we definitely got none of that in the last live action. So, that cultural representation is commendable in this, but all told, I think a solid, if unspectacular, Avatar adaptation is probably the least interesting outcome after
Yeah.
months, if not years.
Yeah, it was painfully okay just off the first two
Yeah.
episodes that I've seen. The changes they decided to make as far as like removing Sokka being sexist and Katara,
Hmm.
it
yeah.
looks like she's going to be self-taught. Those were not good decisions in my opinion. Like, I understand changing things, like, and it's fine if it still services the story and characters. These decisions didn't do that because, like, removing the fact that Sokka was sexist, you have overrided the growth that he experiences from that when Suki
Yeah.
puts him on his ass and, like, he's like, oh, I respect you now. Like, even that whole interaction in episode 2 was very confusing to me because it's
Hmm.
like Suki looking at him and like, you're a warrior, like, what? Like, that doesn't really make sense when Sokka was never sexist towards her or even doubted her position not one time. He respected her from the very beginning. So it was just, it
Mm.
was kind of bizarre, some of those choices. And like Katara having the water scroll so early, which it was like, oh, okay. And I'm interested. I mean, I don't really care about spoilers, but like, I'm interested when they decide to go to see the princess and everything, how that's going to go. Cause one of the main reasons they go is because, like, they want Aang to learn more waterbending, but Qatar also decides she wants to learn as well, and then she encounters the sexist instructor, and then that was a whole thing. So it's just like
Hmm.
certain decisions like that I don't think benefited the show, and it left characters a bit flat for me thus far. But I mean, hopefully, with what I will watch, it gets a little better. But thus far, it's okay. It's just okay for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's a really good point too about because we get these, they want to keep stuff woke, or they want to not offend, and they take out stuff like the sexist, but like you said, that character development is what makes
Right.
the character not two-dimensional and makes you care about the character, and it's fucking
And
character development.
that was a part of his growth, because
Yeah.
he was, like that was his mindset. I mean, I don't know, like obviously, you don't know where they get those mindsets from, because Hakoda, for instance, never seemed like he was the type to, instill that mindset onto Sokka. So
Yeah.
that I feel like was his own mindset growing up, especially being in charge of those past, those past like 3 or so years since, his dad went off with the other warriors. And so that was the mindset that he developed. Like, okay, I need to train up these warriors, and the women need to, just make our clothes and feed us and whatnot like that. So that might have been the mindset that he developed as he was in charge during that time. And so the fact that they didn't keep that, and the outcome, we all as fans know the outcome, that he gets over there, especially when he encountered the Kyoshi warriors and they put him in his spot really.
Right.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I mean, like, even the events of how they find Aang to begin with, because Sokka was being sexist towards Katara, and she got so pissed off that the whole thing just kind of, it woke Aang up or whatever. So it's like all of these things matter. They're all building blocks, and I feel like taking such an important thing out, it ripples throughout, your product. But this is just from the first 2 episodes, so maybe it's a little better. I think Aang settling into like his responsibility as the Avatar so quickly was also kind of crazy. Because we spent the whole first season basically with him not really trying to accept that, and I get wanting to shorten that. That's okay, but like within the first episode is like, oh, like that's crazy. He doesn't feel like a kid anymore, and that was the whole thing with Aang, at least for me. That's what I love about him. He always kept that kid-like nature, especially within like the first 2 books. So it's just like, oh, he's real serious now. And it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that so soon.
Exactly. And because Aang spent the totality of his life beforehand, his first 12 years of life not worrying about a war, and that subtle change of them telling him that a war was happening before in the process of telling him that he's also the Avatar, that of course changed saying the thoughts of it all as well, because when he was frozen in the animated series, as we know, he had no knowledge of the war, like zero knowledge of any war happening until he was unfrozen, and then he finds out, wait, a war is going on, what do you mean? And and he finds out that it's been 100 years since he was frozen, and the war has been going on for 100 years. And just that element of him not wanting to be the Avatar, and then they add the fact that you would have thought that would have been a subtle change for him to say, okay, he got to get on his responsibilities because he knows something is getting ready to happen, in a sense. And I still understand why they had him still fly off, because he wanted to fly off and think about what he was going to have to do, as opposed to in the cartoon he was getting ready to run away because they was he had to go off and train, and that was his only reason for leaving then, because he didn't want to go do any of that. He was running while he was in the storm, as opposed to him just flying off and thinking about his responsibilities and getting caught in the storm.
I will say I do appreciate like the maturity for the show. I think that is something that was very beneficial, like as far as when we saw the genocide of the air nomads in the beginning, like it really, you got to see just how deadly the Fire Nation was, which you got to see that in the original cartoon a little bit, but certainly not to this extent, just because you're catering towards children, so you're not going to
not right away.
Definitely not right away. Like we barely saw any type of like heavy burns or scars, due to the Fire Nation within the actual cartoon, and seeing it here is pretty nice, as far as being able to tell how deadly they are, and just how effective bending is in general, like if it existed within our real world. So I think the bending and everything looks great. So
it does.
Yeah, it does. It really does look great. And Shyamalan's sort of whitewashed version, was where this show.
I liked that version, man. I thought that version was cool. I thought it was all right. I didn't like the way it ended. I just didn't like the way it ended
Well,
because it left you like
it
straight
was
up
just
hanging. Like,
the
yeah, it
cast
was just
is
like
a little
straight up.
whitewashed. The cast was just a little whitewashed.
I'm gonna tell you.
I
I'm gonna tell
mean,
you.
yeah, but it was good for what it was. Because
Yeah,
no, you
well, I
gotta look
mean,
at you. Listen, you gotta look at that. You gotta look at Avatar: The Airbender as a whole. When you look at the whole animated series, it tells a story about Aang. The story is about Aang, but not just about Aang, but his struggles to, like we don't say, he's like Captain America. He left a world that was different than what he woke up in,
yeah,
but they project that in a way. They project that through his struggles of how naive he is, but at the same time how he's learning. They never project that in any of the live action sequences. They kind of make it like something bad happens to him, he feels bad about it, and then he deals with it. But in the cartoon, he actually learns something from it. In each episode, he learns something different about the world that he's living in. But he also learns to toughen up in the world that he's living in along the way. And that's I think that's the point that everybody hates when they watch the live action series because it doesn't really it kind of floats around it, but it don't project it as hard as the anime does. And that's what's so great about the anime. It's like a coming of age tale about a boy, sort of like, you know, that was in one world, but now he's in another. And he has to learn to survive it. He has to learn to live it. Things aren't the same as they were when he got trapped or whatever they did to him, but it's just not the same. And when I was watching it with my son was younger, I watched those with him. And he loved it. He was like, Dad, what is Aang gonna do now? Like he was like really, really into it.
yeah,
And I was into it because I was like, you know what, this joint ain't bad. But when we watch the anything live, it just doesn't translate that as well. Not saying it's not good, but it just doesn't give that same message. But I think everybody that watched anime got that message, and that's what's missing. That's what's lacking from the whole thing.
no, you're right because while the show's visuals and its Asian and indigenous actors do add authenticity to the series, versus the last one, the performances of the majority of the cast, no matter how earnest, they don't really hold up to the weight of the narrative. A lot of the series portrayals lack the I don't know, the sort of the emotion that would be needed to carry a show based on like genocide and war and totalitarianism. And it should have been a little, I mean, tonally, it should stand alongside the nuanced sophistication of like, the Harry Potter movie adaptations or Percy Jackson or something like that. But instead, cheesy acting and some of the like Disney Channel like dialogue and
Yeah, the
like,
dialogue was like, oh no, just what I've seen so far. Like when they have like the monologues at the end of the episode. I hope that's not throughout like every single episode, but like the first two, there was just like these big monologues, and it's like it just feels so out of place. And it's just like okay, but yeah, some of the dialogue was definitely a bit much.
yeah, real TV showy. Yeah. But it's like a lot of live action adaptations.
They try to capture that. Yeah, they try to
Yeah.
because you can do it. You can do it with a cartoon, but it's very, very hard to capture that with a live action. You know what I mean? It's just not as believable when you do it in live action. I just think they should leave it out. Like the best adaptation or the best remake of anything I've ever seen on Netflix was Voltron. When they remade Voltron, that was like that blew me.
16, yeah.
That blew me away.
Right.
It straight up 100%. Yeah, there were no politics in it. They gender swapped Pidge, but they explained it. Like they explained why they did it, and it made sense. And that's why we could get with Voltron. Voltron just took you there.
Studio Mir doing the animation too. Perfection.
Yeah.
Studio Mir, of course, that's who did Legend of Korra. And before I forget, the only two things that I liked about that M. Night Shyamalan Ding Dong movie, the only two things I liked about that movie, one, it was the reason I got into Avatar, because I didn't watch Avatar during its original run, and I was like, before I check out this new movie coming out that this guy doing, let me check out the series, and I checked fell in love with it. Watched all 3 books, fell in love with it. Went to the theaters and saw this. I was mad as crap, and I the second thing that they did good in the movie, the casting of UA. The casting of UA was perfect in that movie.
Spot on. It was
straight up the casting,
Yeah.
and she of course went on to do the voice of Asami and Korra. So UA's casting in that movie was perfect. That's that.
Now, I've never watched Korra, but everybody talk about Korra like it's the best thing since Pockets on Pants.
It's not the best thing, but it's as good as you're gonna get for still being in the same universe to
spin off.
everything.
Honestly,
spin off,
Check it out.
Yeah.
If you don't check it out for anything else, check it out for the animation, because same people did Voltron and did Korra, so check it out.
Yeah, because Korra got what, video games and everything. I was like, damn, that joint, they did a lot with that. My nephews watch it. They love it. They thought they was like, oh, you ain't never watched Korra? I was like, nah, I never watched it. I was like, I watch Avatar. I watched all of those, but I never watched Korra. They was like, oh, Korra's the best. Yeah, and then they start going into, oh, you got blah, blah, blah. They talk about it like, bro, like this is like if you don't watch that, you ain't watched nothing.
I think you'll really like the first season of Legend of Korra. I think the first season is really, really good. The rest is, for me, it was okay. But I think the first season, you'll really, really like it. It was really good.
2 to me was the weakest season. 2 was the weakest season.
Yeah, agreed.
But 3 and 4 was great. 1, I'll put it like this. I will put it as 1. No, I'll put it in this order: 3, 1, 4, and 2. That's what I'll put it in.
So why in your opinion, why do you think that 2 was the weakest season? Because sometimes
First
foremost, 1 is the weakest season, and 2 they step it up.
Half of the second season was done by another animation studio, which you could very much tell. And half of the season was done by another studio, because they still didn't know after they did season 1, because it was supposed to be basically like a one and done. And so they had to get Studio Mirror again to come back for those 7 episodes of the 14th out of the 14. And so you could clearly see the animation difference, with the other studio, if you watch, like half of the time, they might not be blinking or something like that. You could see
it was a real,
I give them credit because they had to come in real quick and step up, while the other studio had to get, rearrange their schedule and get back on course. They did all of 3 and 4, the Studio Mirror did, but you could see that. And it was a lot of angst in there, because of course, Korra, in the beginning of the series was a teenager, and it was just a lot of, angst in there. But, she was set up to be different from Aang, where he's calm and of course an air nomad, and she's a waterbender, but she's actually hot-headed. She was super hot-headed, because the biggest differences was that Aang didn't want to be the Avatar. Korra did want to be the Avatar. And so that's where a lot of her journey of self-discovery in this, that, and the third came into play throughout her series of learning how to actually be the Avatar, as opposed to, just the wanting of it. And, just, like she was wanting to fight and all of this stuff, which is cool. But you see her growth, from the beginning to the end. And then, of course, well, I ain't, if you seen the end,
I never seen it. It wouldn't spoil it for me. I'm
not gonna spoil it for you, but the ending definitely, I saw it coming, but a lot of other people was just caught off guard for some reason. But if you see innuendos,
I saw it too, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I saw that coming, from middle of season 3 on up to when it, went down. So
when she broke up with old boy, that's when I saw it. And like you could see how she was looking at Korra. I was like, oh man, there's something there. But I was like, it's a kid's show, so maybe I'm just like your wheels are turning, but you like, nah. Yeah, I'm like, nah, it's too early. It was way too early.
Yeah. But
I don't know. I felt like that was not fleshed out the best. I feel like I kind of saw it too, but I can understand people who were caught off guard with what they were trying to build to, just because I felt like there weren't enough. But then it's a kid's show. They're not going to really go down that route. Yeah. It's fine. But yeah, I think book 2 for me was the weakest because there was like a noticeable like drop in quality, but the story also I wasn't really a fan of like the way that they handled spirits compared to Avatar. I think it was a downgrade. They treated it very, I'll say, black and white compared to Avatar, and I wasn't really a fan of that. And then also like Team Korra in this case, they're just like a weaker team than Team Avatar as far as having strong connections and like characterization. So that kind of was built on it as well. But I think they did a little better with 3 and 4. But yeah, 2 was just whoa. 1 was up there, really mainly because of the antagonist and like that plot. But like it was up there, definitely. I would say it's up there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this what the critics are saying about this one. I mean, we've got the obviously the original, and then the M. Night Shyamalan. You see over there on the right, it was more of like a realistic sort of vibe to the aesthetic. The new one definitely is more sort of being what do you call it? Loyal to the original. Obviously, his costumes almost like verbatim 1-to-1 right there. He looks very similar to the animated version.
Yeah, he does.
And he almost like my nephew too. Shout out to my nephew whose birthday is tomorrow. He'll be 12, so he'll be Aang's age. So
what's his name?
Oh wow!
I mean, he looks like Aang except for he's not bald. You know, he got the ears, the thick eyebrows. He looks just like this new kid. Like for
what
real.
was his name?
His name Drew.
Drew. All right, shout out Drew. Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy birthday!
But yeah, the critics on this one are obviously liking it better than the M. Night Shyamalan. Critics hated that one. A lot of backlash from fans for white actors and Asian characters and stuff like that. Netflix's adaptation was viewed by fans as going in the right direction when it received support from the animated show's creators, which is always good. That's sort of what helped One Piece. And then they backed out, but at least at the start of development, and Asian and indigenous actors were cast in lead roles. But yeah, the critics. Well, here's what critics had to say. Rolling Stone said Netflix series is more respectful than the original source material and has better action scenes and casting than the 2010 movie. More respectful than the original source material. So basically, they're talking about the sexist tones and stuff like that the cartoon had.
That's just stupid because of the simple fact. I say it's stupid because of the simple fact the man had character development and growth. It's not like he stayed like that throughout the whole.
Yeah, they're so dumb.
Exactly. Like the whole series. They not to see. Okay, we can't have this sexist character here. Like Pepe Le Pew, how they pretty much asked him. We know Pepe Le Pew is a freak and he breaks all type of boundaries. As soon as he walks, he can't do no Pepe Le Pew, but Sokka grew from that. He grew from that, and I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like they didn't watch even all you have to do is spare 20 minutes because they literally start the arc in one episode when he meets the Kyoshi Warriors. It's like I just feel like they didn't even bother to watch the show before deciding, oh yeah, it's sexist, get that out of here. And it's like you're removing all growth from him. So it's like, where do we even go from here?
That's exactly what they do.
Minutes of the first episode
before
Amy came out the ice. That's what they saw.
And they said, all right.
Because a lot of times when they write those articles, it's clickbait. They put something in the caption to get your attention and make you click on it and read it, things like that. But
I'll tell you something. The thing with critics, a critic is really writing their reviews for other critics to give them props. They don't give they're really writing for themselves. They're promoting themselves. They want people to think they're smart and witty and intelligent. They said something really poignant, and they're getting brownie points for fucking saying that it was more respectful than the original material and blah blah blah. They do it for points. The The next critic
Ebert.
from Mashable said, Mashable's Bellin Edwards said, the new show is nowhere near the failure of the film, nor as spectacular as the series, but it's not of uniform quality either. It is if torn between its predecessors. Avatar: The Last Airbender alternates between highs and lows, both of which stem from adaptation choices that range from fresh and exciting to dull and bewildering. So basically, they said nothing. In the series, let's see. We got Collider's Therese Laxon wrote that firebending and earthbending are the most visually compelling, whereas the other two don't look natural on screen. I gotta agree. Sada, you haven't seen the whole. The earthbending looks really cool. The fire looks really cool. The water, not so much. And Aang is doing way too much flying around like Superman. He is not.
Yeah, that's so crazy because usually he can only fly with his little
glider
staff.
thing.
Yeah, so it's like when they went to the spot and he was just like floating in the air. I was like, oh, he can like fly now.
Yeah,
it was very bizarre.
But old boy and Korra could fly. Remember how he mastered?
Yeah, but he was the first one to do it. That's the thing. Aang couldn't do that. Zahir was the first one to be able to fly as an airbender. So like
let go of your earthly tenders. Let go of your earthly tenders.
Yeah, and Aang was good with flying with that little kite. Like he would flip that joint out in a heartbeat. Yeah,
and just take off. He could ride on that little ball of air.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had that little scooter ball he could ride around on, like a little.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about that. Cool. Yeah,
but sorry, what'd you say, bro?
No, I didn't say no. I was agreeing with Sada. I was like, yeah, y'all talking about the scooter thing he had. I was like, I forgot about that.
Yeah. The Verge's Charles Pullman wrote that the digital backgrounds make sense for Netflix to cut costs, but the lead actors performed better in practical settings. Basically, that these actors didn't do good on the green screen; they did better in the live, sets. Which that's just.
Hey, real quick, I wanted to mention that we have to remember that they did wonderful with what they have. I mean, it's 2024, but who can really make water actually look like the cartoon version of it? I mean, I'm not happy with it, and I think that's why they kind of cut the water scenes a lot throughout the series, or these couple episodes, because they couldn't make the water look amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they that's what most. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
No, I was just saying, at least they're a little self-aware.
Yeah, and I think that's what most people are saying too. Black Heroes, that it's okay, it's good, it's not bad.
Yeah, it's still perfect. It's perfect. I wanted to see a little bit more tan in the water bending. I mean, in the Water Nation. Yeah. But at the same time, people were like, you know what? But it looks good. They look like the princess. How in the movie, and she was kind of paler.
Yeah, I just wish the sets were a little bit looked a little more lived in, looked a little more real, and the costumes looked a little more layered and realistic, not so cheap.
Oh, I gotta get a water bending hoodie. Those things were so dope, bro. That blue. Oh, what Sasuke?
So I wanted it to be a little more solid.
Yeah, but what about the not the jumpsuit, but that the uniform that he had on with the long blue sleeves and the vest?
I mean, the designs were good. The designs look just like the cartoons. That's really what they did. I mean, they did well with adapting how they looked in the cartoon. The designs of the costumes looked great. I just think the wardrobe could have used some more layers or some more better fabric, different materials. I think the fabrics they use. Yeah.
But it makes sense that maybe people felt they did better in the actual sets. It's just hard for actors to envision themselves in wherever they're supposed to be, and they're in front of a green screen most of the time, so it's very difficult. So I feel like that makes sense.
It takes only the most talented, best actors to do really good on green screens. I mean, you really have to go in your mind and really imagine shit. And a lot of these young actors aren't really seasoned like that. They just but they do what's in front of them. But Radio Times Nicola Austin wrote, his character arc and transformation is known to be one of the best in the animated series, so it's no mean feat to say Lou brings further depth and greater empathy to the role. But I'm not sure. He's talking about Prince Zuko. I really hated that casting.
Oh no.
Oh God, I hate that casting.
I don't mind it.
I didn't mind it either.
Yeah,
I hate
don't
it.
mind it. I don't know. I think performance-wise, I feel like Zuko and surprisingly Sokka so far are kind of bringing it. I think Katara leaves a lot to be desired, as well as Aang for me.
Sokka was amazing. Like, how do you stood up to the Fire Nation and you don't have any bending abilities? That was so dope.
That really, you know what though? That scene in the animated thing was in the animated version is really meaningful and it's dope, and like he really in the anime in the live action it felt really flat. If you didn't know that scene from the animated scene, it didn't come across in the live action. It was really like quick, short, and he basically looked like an asshole. He looked like an idiot. Like, what are you doing?
Oh, wait. The other scene where
it just
where
made him look stupid for
tells-
running up on him. He basically slapped him down, and it was like they made it really quick and meaningless. Like in the animated, it was really dope that he went up against him with no powers. Like that meant something. Like they made it. I felt it was much more meaningful in the animated version. Like they really.
But see, that's what I was saying earlier. You know, in the anime, it's like a coming of age story. Like Aang left a world that was way different that he woke up in, and they show his struggles with dealing with that. But they also show that Aang is a lot more bolder, braver, and has a lot more integrity to himself, that he's trying to mesh with this new world. They never portray any of that in any of the live action drones, because I don't know if Hollywood just can't do that, or if they just can't like they can't, like, you ever notice how we were talking before about Batman, and we were like, yo, or Superman, we were like, yo, we tired of an origin story, because Hollywood doesn't know how to project a story with emotion without telling you something that happened to somebody. Like, just give me a flashback for like 5 minutes, and then let's just get on with our lives. Like, I don't need to see an origin story. I've seen the same origin story for the last 24 years. Like, we know what happened to Batman's mom and dad. We know what happened to Superman. Let's just get on with our lives and let's just move on from there. Punisher, same thing. All they talk about is his family dying. He sit around and cry in every TV show they ever made about his family dying, and then he doing detective work like Batman.
Nah, bro, that Punisher show is. You need to watch that show again, bro. You need to watch that show again,
I did.
bro. You need to watch that show again, bro. That show was off the chain, bro. Season 1 was crucial. You really need to watch that. I'm gonna show you a montage.
Okay, well, why was Daredevil more violent than Punisher?
Again, you need to watch it again. Not even close.
Exactly. That's what
not
I'm saying.
Even close.
Listen,
Daredevil was not even
every
near
Punisher,
as violent as Punisher, bro. Not even
every
near
Punisher,
as violent.
Listen, if Punisher ain't running around like John,
people getting beat to pulp in Punisher, bro. Punisher was the most violent show that they did by far.
If Punisher wasn't like John Wick, it wasn't violent enough for me.
Well, it couldn't be like John Wick because it's not a movie, but it was as close to John Wick as you can get. It was. You should watch it again, bro. I don't know. You might have skimmed through it.
I watched it. I just, because I like when I read a Punisher comic. First of all, he's in his costume.
You didn't watch that show. You didn't watch that show.
Second of all,
I don't believe you watched it, bro.
I watched it. Second of all, Punisher's. Wait a minute. Second of all, Punisher's always planning and plotting, and then he goes and does his business. We don't get that. We never got that. What? He went to jail. Yeah, he did all that, and he fought Kingpin.
All right, come on.
It wasn't really as violent, bro.
Clearly,
it wasn't really as violent as.
Nah, bro. That shit. You need to watch it again, bro. That shit was violent as fuck. Watch it again, bro. Please, just watch it again. You probably it's like you said, like with a Nas album. Maybe you didn't like it at the time. Maybe you like it now. I don't know. Cause man, I just recently watched it. I was watching the whole time. Like, Stu thought this shit wasn't violent enough. God damn. What do you want?
I want John Wick level of violence. That's what I need.
You want Michael Myers level.
Listen, it's Punisher. It's Punisher, bro. Let it go.
That shit. I'm gonna show you some clips of that show, man.
They got a new movie coming out called Boy Kills World. That's gonna be crazy. I don't know if y'all seen the trailer for that yet, but yeah, that's
Oh yeah, with the
Yeah,
guy.
I just seen that.
He was
I
an
just
it
seen
or
that.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah,
Kind of crazy.
yeah, I just seen that.
Let me see. Can I get it up?
But no, I
But
agree. I
yeah,
think that scene with Sokka when he was trying to go up against the Fire Nation, it just didn't work in the show. And it really is derived from the fact that he truly feels like a warrior at all times. Like, and I feel like that's not really portrayed as well in the show. Like he feels like he sees himself as a warrior for maybe like 5 minutes, and then he just like he's stumbling and tripping and da da da, and like it's funny, and Sokka's funny, but the essence of his character throughout like the first season is that he really feels like a warrior through and through. So I think that's probably why for me him going against the Fire Nation, it didn't really work. It kind of fell flat. I was like, oh, what? Oh no.
yeah. Yo, shout out to Warlord Cypher Goon. It's like blue and cream, son. But yo, check this shit out, yo. This
Oh, we
shit
getting clips. We getting
crazy.
Boy Kills World.
We can watch it a little bit with the sound off. This is the
YouTube
new,
police.
yeah. Bill Skarsgård,
Oh,
Jessica Roth, Boys Kill World official trailer. Couple of scenes.
Oh, that's that kid from The Boys.
That's from It. Or yeah.
From It.
Oh yeah, the grown guy. Yes, he's from It. The little
Yeah.
boy. He was in The Boys.
Oh yeah. Man, some cool visuals.
Yeah.
Is this based on anything that is this original?
Yeah, I think this is all original.
Oh,
Oh wow.
yeah, real fit.
Yeah, some shoot 'em up.
Hopefully it's as good as the
Looks like a graphic
trailer
novel.
looks.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it's based on a graphic novel or something.
It might be. I'm not for certain if it is or isn't, but Sam Raimi, he's one of the producers
That's
though.
Sam
So,
Raimi,
yeah.
Yeah.
Damn, he just kicked my
Yeah.
man through the.
And when y'all get a chance to watch it with the sound on, it's hilarious. The trailer is completely and utterly hilarious.
You know how hard it is to get a cereal company to sponsor mass murder?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like a funny action.
Like Kung Fu Hustle.
Not that funny, not that silly, but like with a sense of humor.
And you got Girl K in there, aka Jean Grey.
Yeah.
Andrew Koji from Warriors in here also.
Like Smoking Aces. That kind of funny,
Okay.
maybe. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's what that kind of looks like to me. Yeah, but yeah, what's it say? Cast the producer Sam Raimi. I wonder if it's based on anything. Theater that he checked the
I
Buddy.
don't think so. I was just
Yeah.
looking it up. It doesn't seem like it's an adaptation. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
So
to be.
basically, it's kind of like they're in a world where it's kind of like almost like the Running Man meets Hunger Games a little bit, as far as like them having to go through, you know what I'm saying, situation where they're being watched, and kill each other, fight to the death type joint, some type of thing being sponsored, kind of on TV, like they just it's being sponsored by a kid cereal, for crying out loud. So
Yeah.
so it's crazy.
Wow.
It's definitely crazy. So I mean that's the gist I got from it, from watching the trailer, and the guy who's the main dude right there, who's part of the Skarsgård family. They a lot of them are actors from Peter Skarsgård, and old boy who was in True Blood. You know what I'm saying? All of them are related. Eric, who played Eric in True Blood.
Yeah.
All those cats are related. The Skarsgårds.
Yeah, they're the Swedish dudes. Are or whatever. But yeah, it says boy kills world centers around boy, who vows revenge after his family is murdered by Hilda van der Kooi, leaving him not only orphaned but deaf and voiceless as well. So he's like Snake Eyes. So he does what anyone would do: co-opt an inner monologue from his favorite childhood video game, then run off a train with a mysterious shaman, all in a quest to become the instrument of death as he seeks revenge on Koi, the ruthless matriarch of a corrupt post-apocalyptic dynasty. This leads him on a journey where he falls in with a radical resistance group who aid the carnage. Eventually, Boy gets himself into an annual culling, a televised execution done by breakfast mascots run by Koi. As you can imagine, hell breaks loose from there. Oh yeah. So the televised execution is the breakfast cereal thing.
Mhm.
The cast includes Jessica Roth, Michelle Dockery, a bunch of people we don't know, directed by someone we don't know, script co-wrote with someone we don't know. Producers included Sam Raimi and a bunch of people we don't know. Yeah, but yeah, April 26th. That looks pretty dope.
Okay.
That looks something like something. Yeah, Guy Ritchie
does.
knockoff. It does look like Guy Ritchie knockoff, though. I will.
Mindless violence for the win.
Yeah, this is a little bit gritchy. So Invincible gets the movie, Invincible movie gets a big update from Robert Kirkman. Robert Kirkman was able to take, his comic Invincible and make it a pop culture juggernaut with that little season 1 there, and over 144 issues have made way for the critically acclaimed Invincible animated series, which has made the brand awareness even bigger as plans continue yet another adaptation. In an interview, Kirkman was asked about the progress of the movie that has been basically just rumored about, just sort of whispered about, but the series creator confirmed that work has resumed on the project and that the strikes had delayed it, and that's why it wasn't really being talked about. But a key component is figuring out how they will make sure the live action movie and animated TV series feel distinct from each other, which I'm sure will not be hard. But Kirkman said it's going through the pipeline slowly. He said the strikes and everything kind of put pause on things for a while, but we're just now getting back into it, and that's all very exciting. But it's not something that we're rushing. It's something that we definitely want to get right. Now that the show is out and animated series is doing well, we're trying to figure out ways to make sure that it stands apart, works in tandem with the show, to show how cool Invincible is and doesn't detract from it in any way. So there's a lot of maneuvering that has to go into it, and so it is taking a little bit of time, but I can't wait for everyone to see Stephen Yen as Cecil Stedman.
What?
So,
What?
yeah.
Wait.
No. Oh, that's about as ridiculous as when they said Steven was going to be Sentry.
Right.
Sentry,
They're gonna put a gray wig on him, bald on top with some scarring.
Oh my god.
Now he's that's all you gotta do.
I guess they're trying to find
like
a place.
a producer on the movie or whatever. Like if you wanted to do like
they keep pushing for Steven for all these movies, man. They keep pushing for him for all these movies, but it's just
no, they just keep putting him in the wrong roles. Did nobody ask him to be Cecil? We literally see Cecil is a white man. Just make him a white man. Like it's all right. Oh my god, they keep trying to race swap these characters.
I mean, Steve, they want, they sure there are Asian characters that he could play.
Or like, it's okay if he's like not a part of the movie as well, or if he's like a producer or something. Like it's fine. Like, I feel like the movie, like in tandem with the show, is going to be kind of confusing for people. Like I don't know. It's like if they're running at the same time, but maybe not because it's just a movie. So
Yeah,
maybe.
and there's the thing right there, because a lot of these people create, these shows and adaptations with the sense that they believe that people aren't that smart. And that's what
Yes,
grinds my
yeah.
gears, because they like, oh well, they won't know the difference between Wolverine and X-Men 97 and Hugh
Right.
Jackman Wolverine. Like,
Right.
it's like, I don't know. It's like they think the
Facts.
public is like really stupid. When I say the public,
Yeah.
us, those that aren't, of course, in involved in the sixth element of hip hop, which is, of
Yeah,
course,
the general audience.
they're like, wait, that
Yeah.
can't, it's like, but but yeah, that's crazy. And they've been talking about this Invincible movie. Like, they've been talking about this as far back as I've been a fan of the property back in 2011, and
Yeah.
by at least as long, like right before the book ending in 2018, like probably like around 2015, 16, like they've been talking about it forever. And obviously, at that time he was really focused on, the success of The Walking Dead and all of its 500 billion spinoffs that it got going on right now. So, it's like, so now he's trying to, really catch fire with Invincible, but I just want him to just, just concentrate on, giving us what we want in this animated property, and quit giving us so many gaps in between the season, split the season up, like, hey, concentration on that for right now. And that's the best move that you can make instead of that. And because Invincible, is a great series, and the fact that it's so bright and vibrant like it was in the comic books, and that's what gives away towards the gore aspect, as Reno said when he first covered the first episode I seen him cover of Invincible, talking about just the aspect of it was parody-ish in a way, because if you had the what's the word I'm looking for? The heroes that existed before the well, I can't remember the word right now. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Basically the templates, talking about the templates of the other superheroes that they were
Blueprint.
Blueprints, like
Blueprint.
the X-Men, Justice League, all that type of jazz. And then when you come with your characters who are indeed, the more mainstream characters in the series, like Invincible, Adam, Eve, Robot, Monster Girl, all of those characters. And so it's kind of like you get engorged into the world. Like, you stop looking at it as a knockoff of this, that, and the third, and you start looking at it as its own thing, just like any other thing that's come out over the years, in that situation, from it's just like, hey.
But I thought when he did Invincible, that a lot of the characters he did model kind of after like Marvel and DC.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the running joke.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like we know this dude is supposed to be this guy, but it's not. So like we gave it the feel, but not the look. And I thought it was always like that.
Yeah.
I think he should just focus on the show right now and just kind of like take it from there, because the breaks almost killed any type of hype and excitement for the show. Like, if the first season wasn't what it was, I don't even think the second season would have took off as it did, because there's just such a long break. And even between this first half and the second half, they said it was supposed to be like a month, and it wasn't a month. It was like a couple months. So
like
I don't know what's going on. I'm sure the strike probably has something to do with it.
Maybe, no doubt.
But like, maybe after this half of the season, if we could not get such like a long break, like a 2-year break, that would be great. Because that was the one thing that just almost didn't, make me want to watch the second season, because it just killed any type of hype. So
yeah, and the mid-season breaks and all that bullshit. But when asked to elaborate on the potential differences that the live-action Invincible might have from the animated show, he said, I wouldn't want to reveal that per se, but I think there's a lot of different things that you can accomplish in live action. And there's a lot of different audience that you can reach that you can't reach in animation, unfortunately. I just think that there's a different feel from the story that you get in live action that you may not necessarily get in animation, and they're also two completely different things. So I like the idea of Invincible. The Invincible comic is one thing, the Invincible animated series is one thing, and the Invincible live action it will be a completely different thing. And he does have a point, because a lot of people don't watch animated movie; they're just not into animation, so it will catch a lot of different people. Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg were previously attached to write and direct the live action Invincible movie, but it's unclear if they're still attached in those roles. I'm not really. I really don't want them to do it.
Oh, oh no.
I don't know. But the deal was announced. Yeah, I'm just not really a big fan of Seth Rogen anymore, but that's a whole nother thing. But season 2 of the show, part 1 of the season of Invincible of the second season of Invincible is dope, but only for the characters it has time for, like starting from the moment Omni-Man decides to spare Mark and leave Earth. Season 2 part 1 sets out to cover content from 28 issues of its comic in just 4 50-minute episodes, and it sounds like a lot, and it is, but Amazon does find a way to make it work. In the interest of avoiding a speculative and unfair review, it's important to define criteria by which, I define an effective part 1 for a project, right? Are the characters respected? Is there a continuous narrative? And most importantly, does it stand on its own? The latter is where season 2 part 1 shines. Season 2 has 2 parts. The final episode was the fight with Omni-Man and Mark and the Viltrumite invaders, and is one of the most compelling arguments for splitting the project. In recent media, it's not really been a good thing to do, but it kind of works. It kind of worked the way they did it. I'm not really a big fan of the whole splitting the season and doing the breaks and all of that, but it kind of worked.
And it's his thing, we know how he does with those breaks with the Walking Dead back in the day. Like, Walking Dead since Carl got bit. I stopped after that, so I was like, no,
man,
I'm not doing it.
I'm done.
He might be right. I think that's when I stopped. Too. Yeah.
I was peeved about that because I was like, man, Carl, y'all let him get bit. Like it was so badly done. Like, this kid survived up to this point in this apocalypse, like, and y'all let him go out in this simplistic way, and the character was still alive in the comic books at that time. And I was like, that's
But in the comics, eventually everybody dies except for Michonne and Rick.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised. Like I stopped reading the comic books after that.
In the comics, everybody bites the bullet in the comic at one point or another, except for Rick and Michonne. Rick and Michonne are the only two that.
Well, I ain't mad at that. That's not a bad way to make it through it all. Like Rick and Michonne, like of course they didn't have the relationship in the comics that they had, of course, on live action, but that live action relationship, it works for me because Andrea was like his lady love in the comics. She was not the same character on the show. Like I hated Andrea on the show when she got gone. I was clapping, bro. I was clapping when Andrea got in the show. I was like, this is not the Andrea in the books. Like Andrea in the books was cool. She was like, on Carol's level on the show. You know what I'm saying? That type of cool. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily like Carol was like almost turned into almost like Batman on the show, but you know what I'm saying? But
Carol was, Carol was. Because her character was, all of their characters were totally different in the comic than they were on the show. What was the name of the old man?
Herschel.
Herschel.
Yeah, Herschel. Yeah. In the comic, he wasn't nothing like he was in the in the comic, man. He was nothing like
everybody
that. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of more like, I don't know, man. He was kind of more like a sarcastic. He was like a D-hole almost, man. But he was
Mhm.
cool.
I,
Like
I think the
and,
only
and
two who's pretty much like their comic counterparts, especially early on, was Rick and Shane. Those about the only two, especially Shane. Like what? No, Shane. Well,
Shane?
now Shane
Shane
was off the Shane was off the chart. Shane was off the
Shane
chart.
was he was on the chart on
That
He was off the
Punisher.
chart. The comic.
because there
Yeah, he was.
was
Yeah,
some character, of course, John B, who played him on the show, going into the Punisher and everything like that. So you saw that that crazy rage he had, what I'm saying, from Shane to becoming Frank Castle. So that was a wild thing right there.
and then in the comic, remember he raped Rick's wife. He didn't. They didn't have like a love affair.
No,
Like he
no,
like
Oh,
remember he raped her or something like that. And then Rick found out. And then when Rick found out, that's when he went ham on. That's when he went ham on Shane. Then he shot him. They shot him and killed him. And then remember, because remember they drove. I think either they drove to the prison or something. And he drove back like 2 hours just to shoot him in the head. He dug him up and then shot him in the head.
yeah,
And
I
it was
remember, I
like,
remember
yeah,
that part. I'm
yeah,
trying to
because he was
remember
like, yeah,
because
he was like, you don't get the lick, because he was like, if I shot him, he ain't really dead, and he will come back to life, and he don't even deserve that. So he
right.
drove like 2 hours back to where they came from just to get it. Negan was another one that I liked it in the comics, but in the TV show, I just was like, and people wanted him to kill Negan off in the comics, but Kirkman was like, I ain't never killing Negan off. Negan ain't gonna never die. I just got to deal with it. It's like Negan. Negan is just Negan. Just like the governor. The governor was different
And yeah,
in
oh
the
yeah, oh yeah.
comics.
The governor was way goddamn
Way
crazy in
different.
the comics.
Yeah.
We know
yeah.
what he is in
The
the comic book,
governor.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the governor was off the chain.
he
That
was
Joker.
that
Yeah, he
dude
was
right there
nothing
was
like he was in
crazy
the comic.
with it. He was extra crazy with it. Like yeah, like man, yeah, man.
Oh, yo. So, topic of the show. We got to talk about Jim Lee returning to Marvel after 25 years to create new art for the classic DC Marvel crossovers this year. This
Mm.
is exciting for me. Jim Lee is my dog. Jim Lee is my favorite artist in comics. He's sort of like I feel like his fucking Batman, his Wolverine, his X-Men is like
Those are standard.
it's like the epitome of like how comic heroes should look to me. Like that shit is exactly how like in my
His Magneto. His Magneto.
Magneto, bro, is crazy, bro. Like his Batman, it's my favorite. It's my favorite Batman. It's my favorite X-Men. He's just my favorite. But right now, let me show y'all some more shit.
Like he's the reason why I still say to this day that the late Rutger Hauer should have been Magneto. Like Rutger Hauer should have been Magneto. I don't care what nobody ever say. No, the closest thing we got to Rutger
That would have
Hauer
been dope.
was Fassbender, but outside of that,
Yeah, that would have been dope. That would have been real dope. Rutger Hauer.
yeah.
That's not it. But yeah, there's Batman and Croc. Batman. I mean, he did, bro. Jim Lee's Batman is easily my favorite run.
Yeah.
The X-Men is really dope. His art wise, it's my favorite X-Men.
Oh, you know what? Coming Crusaders, like Sylvester's Wolverine is amazing too. Yeah, Sylvester's Wolverine is amazing. Sylvester's Wolverine,
Yeah.
Adam Kubert's Wolverine. So yeah, like Adam,
Yeah. Yeah, Adam
Oh,
Cooper
there's some
was
amazing fucking there's some amazing artists out there, and it's really hard to be like, I certainly don't say Jim Lee is the best. He's just my favorite. It's just like if I had to pick a favorite, it's Jim Lee.
Yeah, I think Jim Lee. I had to agree. Yeah.
Like Savage Dragon, his longevity on Savage Dragon is just the pinnacle. Like he's been doing 267 issues and counting on Savage Dragon. So
Larson,
he's a machine. but Jim Lee, is the president. What's so dope about this, him doing this, is because he's the president of DC Comics right now, and but obviously, he got his start at Marvel, and now after an absence of more than 25 years, Jim Lee's making an official Marvel Comics art piece as part of the new collections of the classic DC Marvel crossovers being published this year. And Lee's new set of covers will, see the legendary artist tackle the Amalgam universe characters for the first time. So if y'all know what that is, that's where they sort of like mash together DC and Marvel. You have
What?
Dark Claw. Yes, my man Dark
Yeah.
Claw, and but yeah, there's some guys there. You see Dark Claw in the background. Across
Secret
the screen.
Soldier.
It's funny because my favorite two characters in comics are Wolverine and Batman. And the fact that they made a character that is both Wolverine and Batman is crazy to me. It's just dope. You got Captain America and Superman there mashed up. Who else
Wonder
they do?
Woman and
Cyclops. Yeah, Wonder Woman, Storm. You got Rogue over there. What? I see Robin,
Robin, Spider-Man.
yeah,
Yeah.
Iron
Yeah,
Man,
Magneto.
Green
Red
Lantern
Tornado.
over there. Yeah,
Yeah.
is there Beastman? Is that Beastman and Wolverines? There's another
Yeah.
one.
Nah, that got to be somebody
Hulk.
else, not Magneto.
That's Beast and
Iron
Hulk.
Man and
Hulk.
else. But who's it? Who you say, Beast Boy and Hulk, or Beast Boy and Hulk, or
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was Beast.
I thought it was Beast and Hulk.
Yeah, I thought it was Wolverine.
yeah,
But-
it can't be both of them because it got to be a Marvel and DC mashup.
That I thought it was Beast and Wolverine. Beast Boy and
Yeah,
Wolverine.
Beast. Yeah, it gotta be
Beast Boy and Wolverine.
Yeah,
probably not Wolverine.
See him
Probably,
over there
probably,
all the way.
probably Beast Boy and Beast.
That would be that's right. Yeah, I bet it is Beast Boy and Beast. I bet it is Beast Boy and Beast.
It could be. And then
yeah.
who is Nightcrawler mixed with? Nightcrawler and somebody green. Is that Nightcrawler and Hulk?
Where you see
Maybe.
Nightcrawler at?
The guy
Right
over
there in the back.
in the back with the green hair on the
B.
left. That
over
tail.
here. Yeah,
Yeah, you
Nightcrawler.
see his tail?
Yeah, why is he green? Yeah.
I don't know who that guy he would be mixed up with, but he's definitely got a Nightcrawler motif going on. I can't think of who in DC that looks like. I can't think.
And is this
I can't
Cable?
think of
Is it Cable and somebody?
Yeah, that's Cable.
Cable
and somebody.
and
Some,
that's is that
some
that
redhead
ain't
guy.
Aquaman.
Yeah.
It ain't Aquaman.
Nah, I can't think
It's,
who that would be in DC.
Can't be Aquaman.
Looks like
It's,
Hercules and Cable, but that's both
It looked
Marvel.
like that's what it looked like, Hercules and Cable. But I know it
Yeah.
ain't.
Yeah, I think that's Iron Man and Green Lantern up there in the mix over there above the Magneto looking dude.
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
right.
I called that one. Yeah, yeah. And that's Magneto and who is that? Magneto and Captain Dr. Fate or some shit. I don't know.
Might be.
Mhm.
I don't know. And then Cyclops, who they got him mixed with? Who's that? Booster Gold? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably.
I mean, it literally just looks like a different type of Cyclops design.
Yeah, because it does. It just looks like
It do.
Cyclops.
Yeah, it do.
Yeah,
It do.
pretty much. But this is so sharing the news to Instagram. Jim Lee showed off his pencil for his direct market variant cover for the upcoming omnibus collection of the Amalgam line. So all the Amalgam comics are going to be compiled into an omnibus, and Jim Lee's doing the fucking wraparound cover for that bitch, dog, and it's set to be at least released this year on August 6th. And Lee added that that the finished art will be inked by none other than,
Of course, Scott Williams.
yes sir,
Who else? Who
yes,
else?
yes, sir.
As long
And,
as they breathing here on this earth, you gonna see them two boys together.
colored by Alex Sinclair.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
so it's gonna be insane. But this is the pencil there, and
Woo!
yes, it's fucking nuts. Take a minute and feast your eyes Give it a gander. It takes a second to because it's
Yeah.
fucking beautiful.
It is. It
That's
is. It
definitely
really is.
yeah. Dark Side and Vision in the background,
That'd
all
be
big.
dope. Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
So
no, that's that looks like Dark Side. They look like the Watchers joint right there. Wait, or is it no? Is that Dark Side and Apocalypse or?
I think it's Vision. The way he's standing,
Yeah,
he's got the big collar and the cape.
yeah. He's almost got like because you know that collar thing is also what Apocalypse has as well.
Hmm.
You know, like that. You know, like how Apocalypse is you know how his armor is set up with that collar around him. He got a collar too.
Yeah, but
So,
that's Dark Side, and,
yeah,
and
that's Dark Side's face, but that might be Apocalypse's collar though. So I don't know.
why does he have all that cape though? Who has a
I know,
cape?
right? Yeah, that cape is a whole because he's
That's fucking me up.
standing like the Watcher. He's standing like
Yeah.
the Watcher.
Well, you know that Vision cover where Vision's standing like that on that first cover where Vision, it's that
Oh.
OG cover.
Okay, yeah, yeah, you're right. So that could be
No.
Vision as well. So, but
But-
yeah, it could be Vision.
with Dark Side, I would expect them to have like it would be him and Thanos. That would be the best mix. For
Yeah, but Dark Side, Thanos, and Apocalypse, none of them have a cape.
yeah, none of them got a cape.
No,
But
no,
I would
no.
love to see Dark
Interesting.
Side and Apocalypse together. That would be crazy.
That Dark Claw up close is nasty. Like you know, he had to be up front and center. They had to.
Or maybe it's Doctor Strange and Dark Side.
Could be. Yeah, because man, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Piece right there. Trying to figure out who that could possibly be, but yeah,
I'm loving that fucking Jim Lee Dark Claw, dog.
yeah.
I mean, Jim Lee Dark. You gotta. For me, this is crazy, right? Jim Lee's Wolverine, Jim Lee's Batman, my two favorite. He's doing fucking Dark Claw. I'm fucking losing my fucking mind here.
Yeah.
Stu, I know you gotta roll. How long you got, Stu, before you have to really go?
I can hang out another 5 minutes.
Is he going to be the same height as Batman or a little bit shorter in between Wolverine and Batman, or are they going
I
to
think.
combine heights and be taller? Who knows?
Yeah,
I
I
know,
don't
look,
know.
the
I
one
think
in
Dark Claw is
the
kinda
one
on
on-
the taller side.
Because the one on top of Dark Side, that's Doctor Strange. So that should be Doctor Strange and Doctor
Warlord
Fate
I
is
see
mixed
Dr.
together.
Fate. I see Dr.
Yeah, Doctor
Fate.
Strange Fate. Yeah, that's Doctor Strange Fate. I remember him. That's Doctor
Yep.
Strange Fate. I remember him.
And, yeah,
then I
Strange
remember-
Fate. Yep. Because he's got the
And then the
staff,
other
and
one
he's got
is-
the helmet, and there's Green Lantern on his left, isn't it? With Doc Ock. Ock and Green Lantern. Ock
Yeah.
and Green Lantern.
Yeah, Ock and Green Lantern. Yep.
And then that
You know-
looks like
you know-
John
you know
Kent
who-
and Spider-Man and
They
John
I
Kent.
remember back in the day they mixed. You know who they mixed Dark Side with? Thanos. It was Thanos' side.
Yeah, that's
Why does he have a
Thanos and Dark
cape?
Side.
Why
I
does he
have no
fucking
idea.
cape?
Maybe
I
that's his
have no
new-
idea. Right?
maybe
Or
he's like,
Doctor Doom. Or Doctor Doom. It's either he might have switched it. It could either be Doom.
Yeah, that could be
I think
It could be
Doom.
Doom.
Yeah,
Doom
Doom.
side. It could be Doom side, or you know what I mean?
Doom side.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be Doom side. That's now who's that with the gun right there on top of Ben Grimm? You see where I'm at?
Hold on, my man. I forgot about Adam Warlock now, y'all. That's
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
call
yeah,
out.
that-
That could be Dark Side and
That
Warlock.
could be.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
The one with the gun in the middle.
Well, listen.
too. I think that's the cable mix up that we saw
Yeah.
here. I think that's that cable dude.
In the center, and there's Thing below him. Thing and somebody.
Maybe
Uh,
Thing
there's-
and Hulk.
there's-
No, Thing and I don't know. But then there's a duck right there on the side. See the duck at the bottom on this right
so
there in the
that's
corner?
a mix of Howard and
Howard
Lobo.
the Duck
Howard
and
and Lobo. That's Howard and Lobo.
Lobo. Yep. Sure. as
Oh
fuck
yeah,
is.
look, yeah, because he's got the hook.
Oh, that-
He's got the hook. Yeah.
Yeah, that dark side is the Watcher, because that's how the Watcher stands.
I know that's what we were saying. It's like Vision stands
That's
like
what we
that.
saying.
Watcher stands like that. But
Yeah.
that cape
Yeah,
is how the
cape
Watcher
is throwing
holds
us
his cape
off.
too.
Yeah.
Watcher
No,
holds
yeah,
his cape like that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah,
gotta
because
keep
you know
it
Watcho,
going.
you know he be like, yeah, like, hey, you know,
Yeah. But
I'm
Watcher
watching
holds
stuff.
his cape over his arm like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
That's true.
Them pencils is nasty though.
But we do know that they mixed Thanos and Darkseid
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
Amalgam.
There goes Thor,
That's why.
Thor, and somebody over there in the top right corner. He's swinging his hammer in around.
Thor and might be Firestorm. They
Hmm.
look like they might be Firestorm.
Could be.
It could be.
I'm looking at
It
those
could,
towers around. They kind of look nuclear a little bit, so that might be a mix between him and Firestorm. And
Looks
you know,
like it looks like Ghost Rider down there too. Below it goes
yeah,
the Thor
yeah,
Firestorm, then Iron Man guy, and then a Ghost Rider guy.
Ghost Rider will be a better mix with Firestorm. Then
Yeah,
yeah, that
yeah.
that would be a better mix because both of them got flaming heads.
Man, this is Jim Lee right here, y'all.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I have
Yeah.
the amalgam joints. They're pretty dope. They're pretty
Yeah. I love them. They're really cool.
they got Lobo and
Mhm.
and what you call it?
Lobo and Howard. Howard.
Yeah, Howard. Yeah, we were looking at that. We were just looking at that.
That's sick.
Yeah, we were like, damn, look at that. But yeah, Doc. Now, who's that behind? That's a female. Who's that behind Captain Superman?
Talking about over there between him and Dark Claw. That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah.
Why she got a gun or something?
I
Yeah.
was trying to figure out who that was. Yeah.
She is. Her and the woman over on the far left. I don't know that. I don't know if that's a mixture between maybe Huntress and somebody who I'm trying to think who else got a
Who's
bow.
this?
Maybe
Who's
like-
this above the Howard the Duck guy with the sword? It's got like
Uh,
almost like a mantis looking face, but like
that look like a woman that might be Mantis and somebody else, maybe Katana, because I see those Mantis
Where? We know. What are you talking about? Where?
above Howard the Duck.
right over there next to Super Soldier.
Oh, the female with the sword.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Katana and Psylocke.
That's lethal. That should be Cheetah and Craven the Hunter.
She got them things on her head like Mantis though. You know them antennas. I see
The big black eyes too.
Yeah. Yep. And,
Yeah.
Those eyes too. Yeah.
They can be mixed with 3 characters too.
I think Mantis is a little obscure though.
Right. She
Yeah, I
is, but
I don't think they would do. But yeah, they can do more than 2. They can do more than 2 characters.
Yeah.
I think they have because
that.
I think they had like 2 or 3 different Wolverine mixed characters back then. But you know, Darkclaw was the most known because you know Batman. And Wolverine.
Yeah.
I want to see that
Yeah.
Beast Boy and Beast Man, Beast and Beast Boy.
Yeah, that'll be sick.
Yeah, because I know they did Cheetah and Craven. That was a mix. And then you had Night Creeper. We know who that is.
Yeah, that's who that.
had,
Yeah, in the green. Yeah, the creeper. Yeah, the creeper. Yeah, the creeper. Yeah,
Night Creeper was,
yeah.
Yeah.
Creeper is green. Yeah.
Yeah, that's Night Creeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then we had
I ain't seen the creeper since the 90s.
Skulk.
So
then you had Solomon Grundy and the Hulk was mixed together,
yeah.
which I thought was weird, but
I think that might be Killer Croc in the Thing.
You know it.
Where
that might be. That might be because
That head, the way it's got the thing going across
that
his
thing
head.
is
Oh yeah, the Thing in Killer Croc.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Jim Lee said in this post, so he posted this on Instagram, and he said under the post, he said, few things say peak 90s than these designs from the Amalgam universe. The once-in-a-lifetime hybrid universe created by DC Official and Marvel publishing units back in 1996. Now being reprinted in omnibuses, these 2 new covers that I penciled here, which are about, which abut together to form this double pager. Next up, the covers to the Marvel DC crossover collections 2024, shaping up with all sorts of surprises, inks, and pencils to come from Scott Williams and Sin Color. But yeah, in a move fans never thought they'd see. DC and Marvel shock the comics world when they announced that they'd be reprinting their previous cover crossover material in these 2 new omnibuses collections this year. The DC versus Marvel omnibuses will collect previous crossovers from the 80s and 90s, and DC Marvel Amalgam Age will collect the DC versus Marvel series along with the Amalgam titles. So it's not just Amalgam in these omnibuses. It's all kind of DC Marvel crossovers. Spinning out of the 96 epic DC versus Marvel crossover series, the Amalgam Comics line depicted a world created from merging these two big superhero universes in the comics. But Wolverine and Batman merged, became Dark Claw. Superman and Captain America became Super Soldier. A host of other characters came together in a universe owned equally by both companies, which was a very new thing in the industry. It was smart, but it was very new. Like it had never been thought of or attempted. It was very daring, very ambitious. Featuring work by writers like you had Mark Waid, Kurt Busiek, John Romita Jr., John Byrne. It was not no throwaway bullshit, fakey bullshit. Like it was dope. The Amalgam line was successful enough to receive another run of one shot series again in '97, which were all collected and now in a long, out of print trade paperbacks and shit like that. But it's never been put in the Omni. But yeah, he for a lot of fans, Lee is the definitive artist for Marvel and DC characters. His work on X-Men and Batman definitely standing out as some of the all-time best in not only his work but in X-Men and Batman, like some of the best. And this is why it's particularly exciting for me and a lot of fans to see Lee, doing characters like Dark Claw. I mean, Batman and Wolverine together is Jim Lee. That's crazy. The best to do those characters, in my opinion, just my opinion. Doctor Strange, Fate, the Fantastic Four, the Thanos side. So it is Thanos side. Okay. I was just reading down here a couple of the names. So it is Thanos and Darkseid for the first time, but he is damn sure standing like fucking both Vision
Watcher.
and Watcher. Yeah.
But wait, Reno. If you look close, it looked like he has the Infinity Gauntlet under the cape. If you look, I mean, I know it depends. Like you said, you gotta look close at it.
Mhm.
That look like it's got Infinity, like it's a gauntlet with the stones.
Let me look up on that thing because that might be the gauntlet right there. You know what?
Yeah.
It could be. It
Might
might
be.
be.
Yeah, it looked like it. Yeah, I'm looking at it. Yeah, I'm looking at it. It kind of looked like it.
Yeah, that could be the gauntlet. I guess he just wanted to wear the cape for style, then. Because I mean, well, you know what? Thanos have worn capes before. Thanos have worn capes before. So
yeah.
So
maybe they just put a cape on it.
Yeah, he's like, hey, I'm chill back here, so I got my cape on.
Got my cape. Yeah, I'm doing my thing. Don't make me snap my fingers around.
Right. Got a snapping cape on.
Yeah.
For real.
So it might be it. All right, fellas, I gotta break out, man. I'll catch y'all Monday, but I definitely see Omnibus, man. You start collecting Omnibus, man. You might as well just give up your whole comic book collection and just go Omnibus. You might as well just go Omnibus. You can't have one Omnibus. You gotta you get one of those. You might as well just.
It's like $100 and something each.
I know, bro, and they're so expensive. Like, but I've seen guys on YouTube with like 100 of them. Like they got omnibuses. That's all they have. Like they built shelves just to hold them. Like it's definitely a niche tier. But a lot of those guys that have them say it's easier to collect the omnibus than to go after the comics. They take up less space. I gotta say that.
Look at Amalgam Crosser says Thanos side appeared across 3 different titles, with the most notable role coming in Thorian of the New Asgards by Keith.
Yeah, Thorian. That's what we mixed with. Yeah.
And Asgard and New Gods, New Asgards, combined Thor and DC's Orion in a world that merged 2 of Kirby's greatest creation, the world of Thor and New Gods. In the story, Thanos side gives Locke Decide the Mother Cube and tells him not to disappoint Lady Death, which starts Ragnarok. The comic ends with Thorian sacrificing himself to stop Ragnarok and ends with him becoming a celestial. It is bonkers and confusing as it sounds, but there he is. Here he is too. Thanos side. But before Thanos side fought against the New Asgards and made an appearance in Bullets and Bracelets by John Ostrander. The book starred Punisher-like versions of Diana Prince and Trevor Castle, with the duo coming face to face with Thanos side. Thanos side realized he needed to impose order with the infinity links. Oh, so instead of the gauntlet, it's the infinity links, which Earth's
Links.
greatest hero took away from him. Yeah. Bizarrely, it didn't end there, as a collection of trading cards, not comics, from Fleer told the story of the secret Crisis of Infinity Hour, where Thanoside tried to get the ultimate anti-life nullifier to rewrite reality alongside Doctor Doomsday. His attempt to beat the Amalgam heroes ended in failure. That's crazy. So yeah, the story ended on the cards, on the trading cards, where they continue the story, not in the comics. Like most of the Amalgam crossover comics, the characters were severely bogged down by trying to do way too much. Thanoside had the potential to become one of Marvel and DC's greatest villains, and while true power was teased, never really on display. It is a shame the Crisis of Infinity Hour never got a comic adaptation, because it would have been awesome to see the combination of Thanos and Darkseid take down the combo universe. Alas, readers will have to settle for trading cards to learn about the secret event. That's pretty dope.
You know, was beyond dope, like for real though.
Yeah, but Jim Lee, man, that's my guy, man. But keep a lookout for that. Coming soon. If you into that artwork, man, it's gonna be dope.
Man, yo, first and foremost, shout outs to Jim Lee, the legend right there, who's turning 60 this year, man. Like,
Word.
if you know what I'm saying, if you as grown as us, you remember when him and all the other cats who went out to create Image Comics with Young Guns, and
Yes.
you know what I'm saying, when all of this was all popping off, where their legends began. And it's a trip, that they are, of course, the old guard, the old heads, but still the best to ever do it, you know what I'm saying, in the industry, you know what I'm saying? Like, they are living legends, you know what I'm saying, in this whole thing. Shout outs out to BDBGP. I see you in the building, man. We're streaming on both Six Element side and over here on my channel as well. BDBGP, come over on the Six Elements side, so you can so they can see you down here, you know what I'm saying. He's also, you know what I'm saying, into the hip hop community as well. He does back of the beats on his channel. Shout outs to you, man. Can y'all get, man? That'd be dope. So hey, we can get Jim. If we get Jim Lee, if Reno gets Jim Lee over here, I don't know how he gonna be able to hold that combo.
I mean, it would be. I mean, hey, I talked to Pharaoh Monts. We had Pharaoh Monts on the show. I did a pretty good interview with that. It would be dope.
But it's Jim. It's Jim.
I know. Listen, I got two. It's two. I got two main people that I really want to get on the show. It's Method Man and Jim Lee. So one day it's gonna happen. So stay tuned, Slade. One day we will have him on here. I promise. But yes, BGP. Yes, I'm gonna be down with the Battle of the Beats episode tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on the BDBGP channel. So I'm gonna be one of the guest judges.
Hey, that's what's up. That's what's up. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Love the connection, man. That's how we get around here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Hip hop. You know what I'm saying? This the sixth element of hip hop. The comics, man. Hey, that's what it be about, man. That's what it be about.
That's it, man. Hip hop and comic books, man. Comic books been a part of hip hop. Hip hop been all in comics, and it's my two favorite things, man. And
check the B-boy poses came from comics.
Word. You know what I'm saying? You know how much stuff came from comics, man, that's in hip hop, and vice versa. It's mind blowing, man. When you really sit down and really chop it up and break it down, it really is nuts. Like I was like, man, I got to do a fucking YouTube channel about this shit. Like, that's how. So trust me, it's a lot. It's a whole lot.
Dr. Doom by himself, you know what I'm saying, influenced one of the greatest to ever do it. Shout outs to Doom again, RIP. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. I mean, Wu-Tang, like, come on, it's just
Johnny Blaze.
Tony Stark, Iron Man. I mean, every like the you know what was a really good hip hop and comics representation recently that kind of got glossed over was the Luke Cage show. That shit was hip hop as hell. Every episode was named after after a Gangstar song.
Right.
You had hip hop themes not just, you know, like in 1 or 2 episodes, like every episode was touching on hip hop Easter eggs and shit like that, you know. Then you had like Jada Kiss on the show, and you know, it was crazy, man.
Word. Then you got
Songs playing during the scenes and shit. Like what? I was like, whoa, like you don't see that. Where else do you see Wu-Tang during an action sequence but a comic show?
word.
Part. And with that being said, also, you know, shout out to my bro Johnny Quest Gaming, who is one half of UGI Studios. He has a long running comic series that he's been, you know, on the ground making for the longest, which blends in the elements of comics and manga and hip hop together. Is called Hip Hop Sushi. The Legend of the God MC. I don't know when it's coming out, but I wanted to put that in y'all ear. So when y'all hear that in the streets, when it comes, that's a Hip Hop Sushi, the Legend of the God MC.
Dope.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
coming.
man. He's been on the show. We've definitely talked about it on the show, and yeah, definitely can't wait to see that, man. Cannot wait. And kid with the Kung Fu grip, man. Anytime, man. You already know what it is, man. Come on. Give your bro your email, man, and we'll shoot it to you.
My brother be wilding. But
I
yeah,
know.
to the comics, stuff like that. For the new guys, even the younger, slightly younger guys like Drake and J. Cole having the Spider-Man in their shows and stuff like that and in videos, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Ain't no way that hip hop and the comic book industry can part ways. You can't. It's too intertwined.
absolutely, man.
Too intertwined.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not gonna happen now, especially, you know, after, you know, with the success of, of Miles Morales, you know, making his way outside of comics and being immersed with the Spider-Verse and just the whole elements of, you know, just the, you know, design of the Spider-Verse movies that came out, part 1 and part 2. You know, it just has that whole element of hip hop, you know, from the style of it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's got the soul of it, you know what I'm saying, in there. And it's not going anywhere. Hip hop, you know, like, you know, back in the, you know, late 70s, early to mid 80s, you know, they thought hip hop was gonna be a fad, but no, lo and behold, it is its own genre, it's its own genre of music.
It's the biggest genre on the planet.
Right. So it is influenced by so many things, and it has brought together so many, you know what I'm saying, you know, people, you know what I'm saying, in terms of just the rawness of it. And you know, when we talking about hip hop, we talking about, you know, just, you know, a being in your element, being in your individuality, and being, you know, cohesive with, you know, everybody, you know what I'm saying. And it's, you know, it's all what it is, and you can't help but to
Your element.
soon as you hear the bass, soon as you hear the rhyme, soon as you hear the flow, you know what I'm saying, it's all where it's at. And so, and us being the ages that we are, you know, coming up when hip hop was coming up, you know, we was coming up with this genre. And
Oh, yeah. It's the rawest way of expression. Period. It's the rawest expression, and it utilizes other element of music to even it just absorbs everything. You know what I mean? And then once it absorbs it, it spits out something totally different. So every time, it always.
There's you know, Wu-Tang got a comic book called The 9 Rings of Wu-Tang.
Yep, I got that when it came out. I had got that book when it came out back in like 01, 02.
Yeah, and Ghostface got what is this? 12 Reasons to Die 1 and 2. But
Those is crazy.
when I came up with the name for this channel and the idea, the sixth element of hip hop, you know, because hip hop has, you know, 5 main elements, and comics being the sixth element. But I didn't want to just be real on the nose and call it hip hop and comics. I wanted to, you know, to be something symbolic. So I, you know, came up with the name Sixth Element of Hip Hop. Without saying comics, I'm saying comics, right? Because comics are the sixth element. But I was reading like when I was coming up with the idea, like I went on, you know, the internet to do research and shit, and I'm Googling shit, and I'm finding articles that are saying like, is our comics hip hop's sixth element, and our the sixth element, like it's like coming to fruition. I'm like, yo, they're actually saying the word sixth element of hip hop, like basically, and then I had this book, the Wu-Tang Manual, right, by the RZA. He has a chapter or a chamber rather called comics.
Yeah.
It is chapter whatever. I think it's chamber 7 or whatever. But the shit was like confirmation, bro. So I'm reading I flipped through it. I had to highlight it because the shit, the very first paragraph says, and this is the RZA writing this. He said comic books are a main element of Wu-Tang because they are a main element of hip hop in general.
Facts.
Right there, he's saying that comics are a hip hop element. So that's and then he said, they always have been. Both hip hop and comics are about styles and personalities. Comics are about special powers, and they're about teams of dudes united in one life or death cause. To me, hip hop is about the same shit. DC Comics has the Justice League, Marvel has the Avengers, the Fantastic Four, the X-Men, and ever since the beginning of hip hop, you see that influence the same way you're looking at the world. I mean, like,
family.
He mentioned Fantastic Four, and you had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. That's from the Fantastic Four. Grandmaster Flash, the Flash.
The Funky 4 plus one more.
Funky 4 plus one more.
And every rapper's name is on. So that's their
DJ. Yeah, DJ Clark Kent, X Clan. Obviously Wu-Tang, all the members in Wu-Tang, Johnny Blaze, Ghost Rider, Iron Man, Starks. Hip hop has always been a youth thing, and youth read comics, right? The whole subculture of America, comics, martial arts, movies, skateboarding, it's all part of our culture. And that's why hip hop and comics always relate, because it's young people, it's creativity, it's art, it's rebellion, it's expression. It's all a lot of the same themes, and it's storytelling, it's fantasy, it's embellishment, right? Boasting, superhero, giving people extra powers, basically. And it's a lot of that same stuff in both mediums.
It's a bad batch of elements all put together. You dig?
Word.
Yeah.
Word. He said we all grew up collecting comics, just about everyone in the Wu-Tang Clan. I think Method Man had the most extensive collection. Meth said he got over 30,000 comics.
I believe it.
That's a lot of books. Like 30,000. That's bigger than a lot of stores have. Like he got a storage facility for that shit. He probably got a warehouse. He probably got his shit in his basement or whatever. But that's bananas.
Because I thought mine was extensive back in the day, and the last I had counted my books before I lost like half of my collection was over 1,200, and I thought that was major. So 30,000 books.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's library straight up.
Right.
Hell yeah, man. That's why Method Man is definitely would be my goal art guest to talk to on the show, because he's the biggest comic fan. He probably knows the most from the out of the woo. Growing up, he said, I used to read comics like a movie. I'd make music in it for my music for it in my head. So he's literally making hip hop, he's making music, visualizing the comics in his head, making and I know he's not the only artist to do that. And if you look at the hip hop, first of all, the fan base, hip hop, the fan base doesn't really understand comics. They don't get it. They're really not. It's not really part of the hip hop fan base as much. The artists of hip hop, the MCs and the producers, all of them are comic heads. All of them love comics. It just doesn't quite make it to the fan base for some reason, because it's more of a nuanced thing. It's not like
they taking it in. They taking it in, like it's like the difference between somebody who plays basketball as opposed to someone who watches basketball. Like if you play basketball, in football, any sport or whatever you do, you know it, the ins and outs of it, the intricacies of it, and what it takes to do all of those things. And so when it comes to being a rapper, being an MC, being an artist, you got to know the fundamentals of what you're doing. You got to know the elements of hip hop, the six
Right.
elements of hip hop. And so if you don't know, you don't know. And that's why a lot of people who may be into hip hop, as far as like, some of the newer rappers, what I'm saying, if they ain't into comic books, then you can automatically, you can tell, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
like they might be, like it's kind of like the difference between, like glancing over, like you take a book and be like, oh, okay, as opposed to you engulfed in this thing and you reading it and you studying it and you loving it, you into it. So
Yeah.
you
And you can tell too, because a artist that like an MC that's lyrical and got content and got shit behind their music, those be the comic fans. The artists that not in the comics generally be the ones that are not very lyrical, not, what I'm saying. It just is what it is, because I mean, comics, it's a media, it
you know
is
how to tell a story. You know how to
it,
tell a story.
yeah,
And
it's literature, right? It's reading. I mean, yeah, you know what I'm
I
saying.
mean, my big words I learned was because of comics. So hey, I'm here to say it. I didn't learn my big words in school. I learned them reading comic books when they was talking about the synthesizer that has to create the molecular structure of these enzymes. Like, okay, let me go to the dictionary.
Yeah.
So that where is that right there? You was learning things ahead of time, like that's why if you're into comics, you're still in the future compared to now. Like like remember back in the day when like all of these devices, like the internet, the smartphones, all this stuff we was reading back in the 80s and 90s. You know what I'm saying? The science fiction and the comics, we was already engulfed in this. Now we didn't think that it was going to come as soon as it did. After the 90s progressed and where we are now in terms of technology wise, like I got smartphones and iPads and laptops and you can take them. Back in the day, you couldn't have thought, oh, I could take my computer outside or over to my friend's house or something like that. We was happy with the 8-bit. We was happy with the Nintendos at the time and the Sega Genesis cartridges and Super Nintendo. So once it got to this, and it's like,
Yeah.
I saw it coming, but wow, it's here now. It ain't just in my head no more.
Like Star Trek and stuff. Yeah,
Right.
everything.
Crazy.
Apple, I think what you call it Apple needs to pay the estate of what you call it for what they did. They stole from Star Trek.
Oh, word.
Stole from
Gene
Star Trek.
Roddenberry. Yeah.
Stole Dick Tracy watch. Like
his people. Because
Yeah.
the phone, the flat screen TVs and computers, the FaceTime, all that stuff.
right.
Hell yeah, dog. Yo, speaking of Dick Tracy, man, they about to do a new comic series.
I heard about that and I'm looking forward to seeing how they get down with it. Like for real though. I'm looking forward to seeing how they get down.
Yeah, it looks pretty good. The cover of it anyway looks fucking dope to me. But let me see if I can find it real quick.
Anybody in like who's it going to be up on it? Who's doing it? Like what company? IDW or somebody?
Yeah, it's one of those. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. You know what? Let me look in this one. But yeah, I was a big fan of Dick Tracy as a little kid, like 5th grade and shit, like because that movie had came out and
Yeah.
it's like one of the it's like Dick Tracy is the original Rogues Gallery, you know what I'm saying? Like he's the first, he's an old school character. He's from back in the 30s and shit,
Yeah, he was from that same era, when DC popped off, Oh yeah, that's looking
That
nice.
shit look dope.
It's looking nice.
Hell yeah.
Who what company is that?
This is Mad Cave. So
Mad Cave, okay.
yeah, I'm a big fan of Mad Cave. They did some good shit. It says the synopsis says Dick Tracy returns in a new ongoing series from Mad Cave. A new era for iconic detective starts here. From the best-selling acclaimed authors Alex Segura and Michael Mordecai's an all-new noir-infused chapter in the Dick Tracy legacy kicks off with superstar artist Geraldo Borges. In the aftermath of World War II, the country stands frozen, waiting for the next shoe to drop. In the city, a brutal murder draws the attention of rising star detective Dick Tracy, who soon discovers the bloodshed is just the beginning of a complicated web that threatens to ensnare everything he cares about. Blending the classic elements of Dick Tracy, the Dick Tracy world, including his iconic villains, supporting cast, and unforgettable radio. With a hard-boiled and realistic take, Dick Tracy #1 kicks off a fresh and modern take on an iconic detective that remains true to his rich history.
We gotta wait till November. God
yes, it's gonna be a minute.
dang. So it comes out November 2024, y'all. For those who down to check this out, yeah, Dick Tracy issue 1 by Mad Cave. Oh yeah, that's gonna be raw right there. That's gonna be raw.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be raw. Yeah, like his guys, a little face, you know what I'm saying? Hammer,
flat top, hammerhead or whatever, flat top, prune face, fucking the brow.
Big boy did it. Big boy did it.
Big boy mumbles, mumbles. Fucking
Yo, yeah, that's gonna be raw right there. That's gonna be raw. Like it goes to show yellow. If you wearing a lot of yellow, you got to be a badass because Dick Tracy and Wolverine, those are two cats who wear a whole bunch of yellow. You know what I'm saying? They some badasses. Like,
this is some dope shit from Mad Cave, Nottingham.
Oh yeah, that's fire.
Super good.
Is that not like based off in the Robin Hood joint?
Basically, it tells it from the perspective of the sheriff, like as if Robin Hood was a terrorist. And it's hella violent. It's fucking good. It says the twisted medieval noir. The sheriff of Nottingham hunts a serial killer with a penchant for tax collectors. So Robin Hood's like a serial killer. He's like a bad guy, and the sheriff has to stop him. The sheriff's investigation makes him the target of England's most nefarious power brokers. That's to say nothing of the merry men terrorists lurking amongst the trees of Sherwood, led by an enigma known only as Hood. Wow. Yeah, so it's good. It's really good.
Shame. So yeah, you're gonna vilify my boy Robin?
Oh yeah.
I'm with it though. I'm with it because
it's something different.
Yeah, I've never even thought to like see something on the perspective of the sheriff. So that's what's up.
Yeah,
that's funky right there. I like that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But speaking of hip hop and comics, the Spider-Verse guys, the writers Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, are going to be working on a DCU project. James Gunn expressed his interest in working with Lord and Miller in the rebooted DCU while responding to a fan question on Threads. The fan asked Gunn if he would work with Phil Lord and Christopher Miller for a DCU project, since Gunn had previously expressed his love for Spider-Verse, the movies. His response was very straightforward. He just said yes. While expressing his regret for not asking the duo sooner, Gunn had recently been in contact with the pair. And Gunn said, yes, I saw them yesterday. I should have asked. Remember, Gunn said his new universe, the DCU, is going to be all connected. So the animated films, the animated shows, the video games, the TV shows, the live action movies are all going to have the same actors playing the same characters. So if he plays Green Lantern in this movie, he's the same actor that's going to play Green Lantern in the show, same actor that's going to do the voice for Green Lantern in the video game and in the cartoon. So they're going to keep it all very connected, very cohesive in that way. So doing an animated movie with these guys will definitely, they brought the hip hop into it. They didn't have to, right? Hip hop is not a big part of the comics. In the comic book, it's not all about hip hop. This show, the movies, Spider-Verse were very hip hop, right? He's wearing fucking J's, he's doing graffiti, like it's hip hop playing, it's hip hop as fuck. It's got a graffiti style to it, right? So I know these guys, Lord and Miller, are gonna bring a hip hop vibe to whatever they do. So that's gonna be dope to see them in the DCU. They basically are joining the list that Gunn has planned or expressed his desire to join the DCU reboot. Logan and Indiana Jones, the Dial of Destiny director James Mangold is attached to the Swamp Thing movie, and Logan was fucking dope. So Swamp Thing is
What
definitely.
did you think about the last Indiana Jones movie?
Not a big fan. I didn't really finish it.
I ain't
So
mad at you. I wish I had a deal what you did, but I only finished it because I knew it without a shadow of a doubt of Harrison Ford waited as long as he did between 4 and 5. It's not going to be a 6th one. So
yeah, I'll watch it eventually just because it's his last joint, and
yeah.
I'm an indie fan, but I wasn't really. I mean, honestly, bro, if it ain't after Last Crusade, I ain't really been a super fan. Last Crusade was
Last Crusade was pretty much it. Like
Yeah.
we really like if you had to do anything else after Last Crusade, it should have been in the 90s. You know, like it, like because Harrison Ford was still young in the 90s, and so he could have did maybe like 2 or 3 movies, at least 2 movies in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then we've been cool with it, but you know that gap between 3 and 4, and then 4 and 5 is. You know, I mean, Harrison Ford still great as Indy, even though, of course, obviously he's an older man now. It's not like he can really get down with it unless, you know, Indiana Jones, the character himself, and, you know, of course, stunt doubles and whatnot. I don't expect to see Harrison Ford jumping off cliffs and stuff like that, even as the character Indiana Jones. I don't expect that at that point in his life. But the side characters in that last movie was garbage. They was garbage. They was like they didn't give me anything to make me want to say, hey, you know, they could continue the series. Like if they had a gave us like they, you know, I know it was probably too late because his star hadn't rose to where it is now. You know what I'm saying? My boy Koi. But if they had just gave us Short Round as a grown man, we could have had Short Round back, and you know what I'm saying, and
that would have been dope.
He could have carried the series from that point forth if that's the case, you know. But
no, that would have made sense. That would have made too much sense.
Exactly. So Reno, what you know about the Bad Batch, man? Cause I see in your title, man, you saying something about that Bad Batch, and me personally, I love the Bad Batch. I just ain't caught up on season 2 yet. So what's you know, I mean, you say you say as much as you want to say, but I'm still got to catch up on it. But Bad Batch is freaking dope, obviously. You know.
Well, episode 3 just dropped of season 3. So if you've been Brad Rao, Jennifer Corbett, and the whole team did not waste any second of the final season of the Bad Batch before you know, starting to pay off the cliffhanger from season 2. Omega is trapped in Mount Tantus, where Crosshair is also locked in, and the Bad Batch are looking for her. So she's like locked down in the cell. The 2 of the first 3 episodes, which are now available on Disney Plus, focus on what is going on inside Mount Tantus, highlighting Omega's attempt to escape, and also the scientific research that is being performed by Dr. Royce Hemlock and Dr. Emmy Carr, under the not so loyal supervision of Nala Se. If you remember the Kaminoans, the tall, skinny, gray looking, the ones that did the clones, right? So everything that took place in those 2 episodes was you know, as compelling as the best moments from the previous 2 seasons of the animated show. The first episode is definitely an Omega episode. It's just about Omega. No one else is in it. And honestly, like I'm a fan of Bad Batch. Like I have all the action figures. Like I like the show. Like I have no complaints. If I had a complaint, it would be the Omega character. I would love to see a show just without that. Like, can we just get one without a little kid or without like let's just have
You got the whimsical kid. You know what I'm saying?
you got to like I know it's always good. But I mean, I don't know. Just once, I want a real serious Star Wars something. But maybe one day in the future we'll get it. But Star Wars has definitely always got its comic relief character, its kid character. It's staple of the franchise. You're never gonna get something without it. But that's why I really did like Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon, because it was basically like Star Wars without any of the kid stuff.
Right.
So like I'm down. I like that shit. I like that's why Disney didn't buy his script, because they were too adult.
What?
Right? Yeah. Those what you call it? Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon were scripts that he were gonna be for Star Wars. He wrote as Star Wars scripts, and Disney didn't want them. But yeah, the storyline of these last 3 episodes, for the most part, as one would expect going in, yet the writers, I think, still managed to keep us in suspense thanks to the new developments on the long-running storylines from the previous seasons, namely about the Imperial cloning plans, right? The Kaminoans. The whole show is about the cloning shit, right? It's the Bad Batch. These are the clones that were defective, right? And they're running around dealing with shit behind the scenes. And I think the main takeaway for now, though, is that fans of the first 2 seasons will probably be satisfied with the first 3 episodes of this show. They dropped them all at once. It was like a little premiere, all 3 episodes. And even I, who was probably, I've probably liked less than half of the episodes of the series so far. I roughly enjoyed these, especially 3 was really good.
They haven't said this to be the final season or anything, have they? Like they still, or it's still, as far as like an ongoing series, this isn't a final season, is it?
No. From what I understand, like they're gonna keep going, like 8 seasons. Like they don't care. Like they're just gonna keep going until they stop. Yeah, they have no plans to like end it now that I know of. And but yeah, I mean, it's a really good show. It's just I could edit the show down. I could chop out a ton of the show. I could chop out a ton of the episodes. I could chop out whole episodes and make a better show, or a show that I would like better, if that makes sense. I don't want to knock the show, because I'm sure there's people love it. I would take a lot of it out and I would like it better, but I like it, if that makes sense. But let me start with the Hunter Wrecker episode, right? Which for me was the weakest of the 3, right? I appreciate the effort, right, that to give the clones a lot more weight than they've had in other Star Wars projects, which is, after all, the main goal of this series, right? Yet there's nothing in it that made it stick out to me among the vast pool of other episodes from the show that have focused on the Bad Batch interacting with other clones. The idea of them dropping the regs on the island that they'd seemed to settle on in season 2 is interesting, as it contextualizes what their main objective is at this point in the series. But like teaming up with more clones for an extremely plot-driven adventure, where they have to get the MacGuffin while they're trying not to be a giant monster's lunch, kind of felt repetitive and ultimately redundant, unappealing for a show that is exploring the more interesting concepts of Star Wars, elsewhere. But in the end, they managed to find the sector in which Omega is being held captive, which clearly sets up a reunion rather soon. But now that Omega and Crosshair are out in wild space, we know from the trailers that this is happening, with Crosshair seen in action along with other members of the squad. But is that happening over the next couple of episodes, or will they wait a bit for the long anticipated reunion? But as far as Omega and Crosshair go, first we have confirmation that Omega is force sensitive, which I thought was a stupid thing, but
Wow.
whatever. Which
Wait,
it's
yeah, a force sensitive clone?
no Omega's the kid. Well, yeah, I guess she's a clone.
Yeah,
Yeah, she was, yeah, because she is a clone, and
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I think that's like the first time, right? Like we've never seen any or heard or they haven't made any stories about any of the clones being force sensitive. So that's very interesting.
It's
Yeah,
something that
it's something I wouldn't have wanted them to do, but
but they did that with Ray. Ray is a clone of Palette.
yeah.
That's true. That's true. But
So
I don't even want to talk about Ray or fucking
Ray don't 7, 8, and 9 don't exist to me. That goes into the folder of the Last Airbender, and
yeah, that shit is not
but what
canon to me.
I wanted to say, like you said, a great word, redundant.
Oh,
And Star Wars now, that's their formula, being redundant.
yeah.
Doing what they think works and not expanding the universe properly. Like, why do you always have to have this so-called gifted child in distress or danger, and then they grow up to become a great leader or a great gift to the universe? Like, come on, it's already been done with Luke. Oh no,
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
it's been done with Vader. You know
Well,
what I mean?
yeah, Anakin, right? Yeah, and then that whole thing with Ray, like I don't even, again, she's
Yeah.
it's a stupid, but yeah. So Omega is force sensitive, which I think is as stupid as Ray being instantly able to be like a fucking Jedi without any sort of training or anything at all. It was just stupid. But again, I don't want to go there. But yeah, in turn, it does. It feels like something that you would introduce at the beginning of a story, not in the third act. It feels like an afterthought to me. Like now she's force sensitive. Like really, you couldn't think of anything to do, so now she's force sensitive. It doesn't feel like something they planned from the beginning. Whether they did or not, I don't know. It just feels like something shoehorned in.
You
I
know,
don't know.
you don't feel like you had any hints or clues leading up to
There wasn't,
because this is season 3 now. So we're talking like anytime
exactly.
in the first season, the second season, like I would even settle at the beginning of the second season that they could have sprouted something like this, as opposed to you waiting this long for something. Like you could have had hints or clues or something to that popping up, along the way. Like the Camino was talking about, like the metachlorian count of in the clones and this, that, and the third or whatnot. Like something to hint that it could be possible that one of these clones are force sensitive. Even though I know that wasn't like necessarily their bag, because they weren't in the business of trying to necessarily clone Jedis or Siths, but at the same time, we all know what Palpatine's whole deal is, and so if he could get himself cloned and have his his I can't say it now. You know what I'm talking about, his force count up,
Midichlorians, yeah.
midichlorian count up. But so it's like that's something that he could have specified on in secret or whatnot, but you didn't get any hints of that, especially in this series, with us focusing on a bad batch of clones, and so that's something that wasn't, and maybe that is in a sense like, okay, if she's force sensitive, that definitely puts her in the sense of being quote unquote a bad batch, because the clones wasn't none of them was supposed to be able to be force sensitive or had a metachlorian count, a high count, so it's like
or
but
like you I'm sorry to cut you off, but
no, you good.
What you alluded to before, like Palpatine wanting maybe his own squad of force sensitive clone troopers of his own, like his guard, like his new Imperial Guard or something like that. And that was the bad batch, meaning not bad isn't bad, bad isn't good. That's his dudes that's willing to go in, they're Sith, and all of a sudden you can even reverse that and say they're the Bad Batch because he wanted them to be Sith, but now they're Jedi. You know what I mean? They turned Jedis.
Yeah. You know, the I don't want to judge him too harshly for making her force sensitive because, you know, like you said, it could be reasons or whatever, but it could be the Bad Batch thing or whatever. But as there are, you know, still a lot of unanswered questions, and I'm not a big fan of the midichlorian thing. I'm not a big fan of it being something scientific. I like the idea of the force being something mystical, something spiritual, something that's not quantifiable, something that you can't genetically splice, right?
Oh, your count is high, so you're definitely force sensitive, huh? And don't be able to move nothing, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting idea. It's just not, I just not a big fan of it. But if it's, you know, it is George Lucas's idea. It's how he wants to do it. So
Somebody was watching Dragon Ball during that time. They was like, "Oh, he's off the
trip. He's over 9,000.
He has more than Yoda."
More. But yeah, the dynamics inside the facility are super interesting. You've got the Emir Carr, and who's clearly not pure evil and probably doesn't have the same affinity for the Empire and the greater good as her immediate superior does. But I suspect she's more the pragmatic type, where she was given the task and will follow it. You know, good soldiers following orders kind of thing. But you know, I don't know if she's gonna follow a similar arc to Crosshair. But she's the one with the sort of, looks like she got Dragon Ball Z. The fucking the thing that they check the power levels with. What are they called?
The what I can't remember the exact name with the power meters or the
the eye thing. So it looks like she got two of those on,
yeah, because my guy, who is the guy, the one who's mechanically inclined, because he got something like that too, don't he? I can't remember. What's his name?
Tank.
Yeah,
and he's dead. Right? He died in season 2, I think.
Dang.
Spoilers.
Oh yeah. Oh, y'all already know this show is a spoiler. Show. We spoil shit on
Dang, I didn't know somebody had that on got off. Dang,
that's season 2, man. I can't be expected to.
Oh no! I ain't worried about the spoil, but dang, I'm sad. Like dang, so yeah, so it's real out here in the streets now. Okay.
Yeah, dog, it's getting serious.
It's real.
Yeah. Well, they show it in the beginning of season 3. As soon as you watch season 3, right in the you know, last time on Bad Batch, like he you know, he falls to it. I'm not gonna spoil how he does it, but there you go. But yeah, so with Crosshair and Omega now on the run, I would like for Bad Batch to wait for the reunion between them and the remaining members of the squad, which I suspect it will happen at the end of the next, you know, next episode. But the two are finally on the same side of the battle and have gone through enough together for Crosshair not to be combative towards her the entire time. And I also believe that the presence of Batcher aboard the ship will stir up some conflict. But the rogue clone is not there yet with this redemption arc. And I'd love to see like long scenes between the two where they finally start to get along. But I did not expect to see the Emperor so soon in the story. But I was happy to see that because I like how they do the Emperor in the show. I really like the way he looks and sounds and shit. It's cool. But I guess, you know, he was needed for Hemlock to be able to say he can do whatever he wants now. You know, you know, maybe a quick hollow call could have sufficed, but Palpatine being there is definitely not entirely unrealistic. You know, I don't think that, you know, that this will be the last time that we see the Emperor, but I also wonder like if they played that card too soon. Like it was a little bit kind of like, wow, already. But knowing that there's a force sensitive clone would raise some eyebrows. Well, at least Palpatine's eyebrows, right? Because this is kind of where he's been going, right? He wants to create this clone because remember, in this canon, in Bad Batch canon, Ray and all that shit happens, right? This is canon to the sequel bullshit. So Palpatine is here thinking this, right? And he's like, he's got to make these clones, and he's trying to make a Force sensitive clone, and so that's gonna be something that I think we're gonna see Palpatine and Omega in some way interact, or Palpatine's gonna go for her or try to get her or something.
Get her genes or something, yeah.
So, but there's now a narrative excuse for Hemlock to ring a long list of bounty hunters to go after Omega, and so that'll be cool. I want to see some cool bounty hunters. Of course, we've seen Fennec Shan and Cad Bane in the trailers, and I suspect Asajj Ventress will also play a similar role whenever she shows up. But we could see a young Boba Fett, step up to the task. But I want to believe that, Lucasfilm didn't show all their cards in the trailer. Hopefully they're holding something cool like a Boba Fett under wraps. That'd be nice. Cool surprise, but something that could severely complicate things retroactively for this arc later on if not handled correctly. But last but not least, I think in the end it's starting off pretty good. I think it's going to be a good season.
That's what's up.
Yeah, Crosshair is one of my favorite characters, dude. He's like almost a bad guy, but he's cool, but he's like,
he's a tortured soul.
Yeah.
He's a very tortured soul. And we love tortured souls because it's like, they does what they does. You dig?
We can relate. And yeah, you root for the underdog.
Yes, sir. Reno, it's been real, brother. I'm about to head out in a sec. You know what I'm saying? Yo.
Yeah, we're about to wrap it up anyway.
Hey, well, shoot. Well, I stay for the wrap up, and on today's Jerry Thoughts.
yeah. Thoughts with Jerry. But yeah, y'all, it's been about 2.5 hours. We're gonna wrap it up anyway. But it's been a dope Saturday. DC Power Hour. Y'all already know we here every Saturday and Monday at 7 p.m. We're gonna come back Monday and we'll be talking some cool shit. Definitely gonna talk about that new Energon universe, the Dreadnoks in Cobra Commander, and yes, some of these covers, man. Some of these pages out of here, man. The Dreadnought stuff is too dope. Cobra Commander with the trench coat and the hat, man. It's just really cool stuff going on, man. We're gonna talk about that and some other cool shit. But y'all already know what it is. We'll see you guys Monday. Have a safe weekend. Be cool, be safe, have fun, and all that good stuff.
Peace, people.
Peace.